Are you excited, Kelly, for the new wave?
The speaker? I am, because I can't hear what you guys hear. And
You ought
so
to be able to
I
hear everything.
miss, if there's something, I miss that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I am excited about
So I will need to clip audio, is that correct? Lou?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Is that device we talked about the other day? That
It's a similar device. That device is not available yet.
I need to
So
get that. It looks like it works pretty good.
this is called the Logitech Groups. And-
Logitech Groups.
Yep.
Custer County Board of County Commissioners meeting will come to order. Let the record show that today is October the 6th, 2020, and the time is 9:00 a.m. If you would stand and join me in the salute to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Guess I don't need a mic. Commissioner Flower,
Present. No, this mic will pick you up.
Commissioner Candace,
Here.
Commissioner Prince,
Present.
Attorney Clint Smith is not present. BOCC Admin Assistant Kara Evans not present, and Clerk to the Board Kelly Camper present.
Thank you. Appreciate that. By way of audience introductions, IT Director Vernon Roth is in the room managing our IT this morning. Would like to personally thank him for his continued efforts to clean up our communications process, holding the BOCC meeting. We are trying out a new piece of technology today, so hopefully that will improve. I haven't looked to see how many are on the call today. It looks like just yourself, Vern, is all I have a record of. So anyway, thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And then we have one guest sitting out in the hallway today, Matt Miles. Amendments to the agenda, gentlemen.
None from me.
No, thank you.
I don't believe I have any either. No minutes to approve today. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Prince, would you like to begin?
Thank you, sir. As you know, I had a visit with my family. I was on vacation. However, I did attend multiple meetings while I was gone. The most important one that we'll discuss tomorrow, it's on the agenda, is Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments has discontinued the recycling program for the areas including Custer County. John and Dennis, I invited to come to the meeting tomorrow. And Joni Liebman, who's the head of the recycling group, I invited her via Zoom to give a report on alternatives that we may have. This is a significant change for us. And at the moment, we have some very serious recycling issues.
Did they say why?
Sorry?
Did they say why?
Yeah, a couple of reasons. First of all, the program has lost money from day one. But most important, the contractor that was willing to pick up the recyclables canceled with Upper Arkansas Council of Governments. So they had nobody to handle it. Also, since China has stopped taking plastics and others, there is really no place to take the recycling for the Upper Arkansas Area Council of Governments at the moment. Now, I spoke with Joni Liebman about this yesterday, and she has some potential alternatives. And rather than relay them to me, relay them to you, I asked her just to join the Zoom meeting tomorrow to give us a firsthand knowledge. But the real problem with Upper Arkansas is they have no place to take the recyclables. And that's a major part of our county. As you know, we have multiple bins around. And one of the questions I spoke with John about at the landfill was who owns those recycle bins. Upper Arkansas suggested they thought that the company that withdrew owned them. John felt that we owned them. So it's in flux at the moment. We don't really know who owns those, but we're going to find out. And hopefully we're going to figure out a way to continue this. Now, that does not affect cardboard. We do our own cardboard recycling. It's glass, bottles, and paper and that kind of thing. So that was not real happy news to hear, in my opinion. So that's kind of where we are at the moment with that. And then I attended other meetings, that we all attend on a continuous basis. So that's my report.
And sure, after our meeting last week, we had that planning and zoning, 2 meetings that went on. I missed the second one. Very interesting. Looking forward to the next step. On the 29th, we had the airport business going on. A lot of discussion there that we're going to actually start construction on the AWAS looked like the 19th of October, what they're planning to do right now. It's going to take a couple weeks. And then we worked the CARES items with the 2 town mayors. And I thought Braden has done a really great job of pulling that together to help present the cases that we need to approve or not. And our next one's coming up here. We rescheduled it and I've lost track of when that is now, to tell you the truth. And then over the weekend, they had a great GOP rally that was really interesting. It was a very well attended, I thought. And here we are today.
Great. Anything else, sir?
No.
Okay. So obviously, I was out of town, not obviously, I'm sorry. I was out of town on Thursday and Friday. And then of course, yesterday being a holiday, so I didn't attend any meetings since our last BOCC meeting. I do want to give the board a progress report on the effort to repair the roof at Search and Rescue Building. The board of directors, we charged them with going out, getting an RFP put together and seeking bids. They apparently got 2 bids in. There was an issue with one of the bids. I don't know whether it was submitted late or whatever, but they feel they have a valid bid to do some work on that roof. And that bid was from a local contractor for $1,518 to replace the screws. They're going to take out the existing screws and put in fat boy screws and then replace the ridge cap. I questioned the board contact that I've been working with about whether that was going to solve the issues or not. They didn't really know, but they felt like both of the contractors thought that was the issue. So the problem is, as I'm sure you're aware, when a roof starts showing leakage, just because a leak shows up somewhere doesn't mean that's where the leak is. The leak could be anywhere on the roof and it just happens to express itself wherever. So they believe that this replacing the screws in the ridge cap is going to solve the problem with the water running down the sidewalls. Obviously, time will tell about that. So I told them that I would make you guys aware of their situation. I think it's up to them to go ahead and let that bid out. We pay for it out of capital improvement or maintenance and repairs, either one. I don't have a strong, well, I guess I do have a preference. I think we should pay for it out of maintenance and repairs. But the one problem with the bidder that they've gotten a bid with was he said he would provide them proof of insurance and they do not have that yet. So I guess my suggestion would be to tell them to wait to let the bid out until they do get that proof of insurance. And if they don't, then move on in a different direction. I just don't think we have any business putting a contractor on a roof of a county building if he does not give us a copy of his insurance. One of his employees tumbles off of there and is injured or killed, and with us not knowing the situation on the insurance, I think we'd be in a serious liability predicament. So that's my suggestion. Certainly I will convey to them whatever the board wants. So I'd appreciate any thoughts or comments about that. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, sir. I agree. I think it should be their decision, although it's going to come out of the county budget maintenance. I would strongly urge them to get a warranty because, as you said, I agree with you. It's been an issue where you think you know where the leak is, and in fact, it has traveled from somewhere else on a roof. I've had issues with that before. So I'm fine if they move forward once the contractor meets the requirements for liability. I would sure like to see a warranty just in case.
And they've been asked about the insurance, Tom?
Yes. Yeah, to respond, Jay, I'm sure they'll warranty the work they do. I don't think they're going to guarantee that will
Fix it.
prevent a leak somewhere else on the roof. I don't know. That could be leaking around a roof jack. I don't know. But the bid was to replace the screws in the ridge cap. So
Okay. If that's the bid, that's the bid.
I guess we're at a little bit of exposure. If that doesn't take care of it, then we got to do something different. But certainly both contractors felt like that was a legitimate suspicious reason for those leaking was because those screws are backing out and that ridge cap's faulty.
Good start anyway.
That's what I think. So thoughts or comments, Commissioner Kanda?
No, I agree.
Okay, I will reach out to them and let them know where we're at there. Then the other thing I need to talk to you about is we are in the process of accepting bids for the Rosita property to sell that property.
Sorry about that.
And we've had a couple of issues come up. One of the adjoining landowners, we had a wrong address. The letter actually went to the landowner's parents instead of the landowners. So they've asked for some leeway to still submit a bid, even though the deadline's passed. I told them I thought that was fine because it was kind of our clerical mistake, but I said I'd bring it up in this meeting as well. I think we may have had one bid submitted, although they came in and said, okay, they were going to rewrite that bid and bring it back in. I don't know for a fact that they did that. But I said we would honor that because they came in to submit it by the deadline. And I gave them some additional information, which I'll talk about this morning. And I said, because of that mistake, I think we will honor a late bid from that adjoining landowner as well. If they weren't adjoining landowners, I think we'd have to back up and take a harder look at it. But the other thing we did was we failed to include language in that notice that went out to the adjoining landowners
Yeah, I heard.
about the site, the broadband tower site, and how that needs to be included into the terms and conditions of the sale. Totally got by me, totally got by Jackie. About 2 days after it went out, I called her and said, crap, I just thought about it, that we've got to include language that allows for access and the tower site itself, because that was, we signed a letter of intent to do that. So if that's a deal breaker, I guess it's a deal breaker, but we may have to send out another letter to the landowners and say, we inadvertently omitted this, which I think is an important point to consider if someone's thinking about buying that land.
When are we going to talk about it? You said later. You mean later in this meeting or another meeting?
Well,
We got to decide.
I said
that.
I'd talk about that later, meaning right now. I'm bringing it up that the other point that I think has to be taken into consideration of accepting these bids late is because we failed to include that language. Go ahead, sir.
If what I think I heard was that we really have not received any bids to this point, just one person's shown an interest.
That's not
I
quite
thought we
true.
had.
Did I
thought
not
we had-
understand that correctly?
We've had two people show interest. I think one of them may have submitted a bid, but I don't know that, so I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
Well,
I have significant concerns about extending the deadline. If that was the requirements, even with a clerical error, it went to the parents. The parents certainly could have forwarded that to the adjacent landowner. And I'm wondering about the equity with the landowner who did follow the rules. Is it really fair for them to have the rules extended because someone didn't get it in on a timely manner? So I'm just concerned about that.
Okay. You had a comment?
yeah, I do. To me, I think it's more involved. I think it deserves a good discussion. It's not on the agenda. I understood that there was somebody willing to pay it. We dropped the price. I understand. We put it out. Somebody said, well, I'll take it for whatever that new price was, 66,000, I think it was, something like that. And they didn't know about the right of way, which could significantly impact whatever somebody was willing to bid on something like that. So I think we need to discuss it. We don't know even yet if the adjacent landowner still has to have hearings. We still have to. The right of way doesn't exist. We just have a suggestion for one that we need to work.
So let's abandon the request for bids, and let's start anew with a new deadline and make sure we got the right dates with the correct information. Let's reject the one bid we have if we have it.
Right.
And let them resubmit with a new deadline with all the correct information and the correct people. And that ought to solve our problem. Then everybody has a fair shot at it.
And I think we ought to have a discussion on what that correct information is.
I agree with that.
So we have that on the agenda.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree with that approach. I think that's the prudent thing to do, is start over. Certainly the discussion, I think you're talking about, Commissioner Kanda, is language pertaining to the easement and the site itself, which obviously we have the long lat coordinates for that. The exact easement has not been identified and probably won't be until some point later. But I think for now, the language could include an easement and a 20 by 20 footprint fence, just like all the language we've seen with all the preliminary engineering reports. If I was interested in buying that land, I would say, well, you know what, I'm not going to submit a bid until I know exactly where that easement is. One of the bidders indicated to me that they were looking at a home site on that property. Well, common sense says, why would you buy a piece of property if you don't know where the easement is? So I don't know, maybe we ought to just back up, reject those bids. I hate to wait until all the engineering and all the reports have been done. That could be 6 months to another year, but
It's gonna be hard to sell it without knowing.
yeah, I just don't think it's fair to ask somebody to bid on it if we can't tell them exactly where
Let's
those
have a discussion.
easements are.
I
So
agree with you. I think we need to reject any bids that we've received to this point and put the bidding process on hold till we have more information.
okay. Chair would entertain a motion to that effect.
I'll move that we reject the, if we have any Rosita bids, we reject those bids and put the property out for bid when further information is available.
After further discussion and
So reject any and all bids now.
All right.
And do we want to, it's not, I guess it's a matter of language, semantics. It's really not, I guess it is on the market because we put it up for sale. So do we want to take it off the market?
and start over, basically.
Two emails today from one of the bidders, so I will reach out to those folks after the meeting as well. And of course, Jackie's out of the office right now, but yeah, I think that's probably the appropriate thing to do. So that concludes my report.
Did you have a motion?
Still.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I
Yeah.
second that.
Okay. Did you make the motion, Jay?
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
sorry. Yeah, I was writing it down and
Withdraw and
faced it.
start
So
over.
it's been moved and seconded to reject any and all bids on the Rosita property and take that property off of the market until a time to be determined later, when we can ascertain where the tower site is going to be and where the easement will be located. Any discussion about that? Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of rejecting the bids and taking that property off the market, say aye. Commissioner Flower, aye. Commissioner Prince,
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda,
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. I will work with Jackie and get that cleaned up. Okay, anything on the county strategic plan report?
None from me right now.
Nor do I. We'll move on. Obviously, no attorney items, or sorry, coronavirus relief fund report. I did not submit, well, I did submit 2 more applications to that committee, which we will look at our next committee meeting. I have not talked to Braden specifically, but he said he was going to submit the first round of reimbursement request to DOLA. I don't know if he's done that. We'll find that out.
What did you
And then-
submit? Stuff from us?
Pardon?
You submitted stuff from the county to?
Yes. I need to submit at least another application. Well, probably, well, it depends on the paperwork. If I get the paperwork, I can submit it all in one application. But certainly overtime salaries related to COVID, we have not submitted that yet. I think I'm up to date with Vernon on submitting his stuff, except for this new technology, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so go ahead.
Did we, on the request that IT gave us at the last meeting, when will we as a board discuss that, whether we should submit it to?
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up too.
Yeah, did we put that on an agenda or not? If we didn't, then
But before you do that, let me make a comment. When I went back into my items, I turned the page too far back and I said a few things previous to that. But one of them I did work with Vernon on exactly what we just said. And that was, we discussed breaking it into 2 pieces. There's requests from the county and there's requests from the Board of Health, items that are applicable to it. And so I met with Vernon and Butch Washington as well to figure what it ought to be. And so I think you guys broke it up, didn't you, Vernon?
Yes, sir. We broke that up into Board of Health and County Commissioners.
So we can discuss, and I don't know, we need to discuss both. You know, we can do that at some point. I don't know if we want to, how to do it from the Board of Commissioners point of view. We have to put it on an agenda, or do we want to do it as like during the COVID relief fund report? Maybe it's applicable there. I don't know.
personally, I think it needs to be an agenda item. We're going to consider spending unbudgeted county dollars. So I think that needs to be a formal agenda item.
Right. And Board of Health, we can do, I mentioned that before. We'll bring that on as one of the items we discussed in the next meeting we get up.
So do we want to put it on October 21st agenda? Consideration of IT unbudgeted expenses?
Yeah.
Okay, can we do that, Ms. Kelly? So consideration of IT COVID-related expenses. Well, that's not true. We got to be careful how we do that.
Of unbudgeted expenses,
Yeah,
leave it at that, and then we'll decide.
Yeah, budgeted
Consideration of IT unbudgeted expenses. No, expense request. The expenses have not been incurred, so we got to be careful how.
Right,
we word
these
that.
are related and necessary. We're going to go through that. And
Well,
it'd be up to him to bring it to the committee to decide whether they meet the criteria. It's just something that we think.
we need to determine
We need to
if they're
determine that
necessary
first. Right,
and related.
that's
So,
right.
And you want that on the 21st?
yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Point of order, I think Bill's point was well taken about the portion that's Board of Health. I think the Board of Health ought to have the same discussion,
Right.
ought to be on the
That's what
agenda
we'll
for
do, I
that.
mentioned.
Okay. You want to resubmit the stuff to the commissioners, the LCC?
And I've broken it out as you requested into an itemized spreadsheet.
Okay, But we haven't seen that yet.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Okay,
haven't sent it
so
out.
if you would submit that to us before the 21st, that'd be perfect. Okay.
Of course.
Submit it to Kelly, who will submit it to us as items for the agenda.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then also under the CVRF fund report, I wonder if scratch that because it really doesn't fit under the CVRF report. I should have brought it up under commissioner items. I would like to have a little conversation about what we think is best to do. We don't have to make a decision right away. We can wait and see how it plays out. But with this additional technology, if we want to consider reselling that to either one of the town governments, I know Westcliff has asked myself and Vern a couple of times about some technology to assist their meetings. If this system works, I would certainly be willing to consider trying to sell some of this stuff unless Vern has some other input. But the last time him and I talked, we thought, well, yeah, it might be a good idea.
Good future item to talk about.
They may be able to use it there. They have a little bit different issues than we run into here.
Right.
So
It may
Do we want
we
to,
may be able to tune it for them, maybe.
okay, do we want to include this on a future agenda item to give Vern the authority to disperse some of this as
Like
we're
he's-
sitting on what, a couple $1,000s worth of technology back there?
About 1,500, 2,000, give or take.
I don't feel I need a vote on this. I think, the only thing I'd be concerned about, of course, is we sell it to them at whatever we have in it. I'm not going to make any money on it. I feel it should fall under Vern's purview to go ahead and do that with our authorization. I do too.
And do you want to do that by consent or do you want to do that in the form of a motion?
Consent works for me.
I'm fine with consent, but a motion certainly makes it more official. Okay, I move that we authorize Vern to dispose of unneeded equipment that we acquired for COVID-related issues and to offer that to the town at our cost or even a discount to that if he chooses.
Towns plural.
The towns, both towns, Westcliff, Silver Cliff.
I'll second the motion. The moved and seconded to authorize IT director to dispose of unneeded technological equipment, mostly sound equipment. Just further discussion. The only reason I do believe it's appropriate to handle this in the form of a motion is now because we're talking about disposing of county property. Go ahead.
The conversation, discussion. If this is something that we have requested the COVID relief fund to reimburse us for these expenses, then the town buys it and they do the same, I'm concerned that would be double dipping.
They couldn't do the same. The committee wouldn't allow it because that had already been paid for by a grant, meaning the COVID relief fund.
And if that is the case, what I would really prefer, if we are reimbursed by the state on the COVID relief fund, where it net sum gain, we don't have an expense at this point, I would say I would prefer to donate these to the two towns as they need it. We shouldn't profit from this.
Okay, that's a great point. I don't want to get us into hot water down the road. Now, we don't know that it's net sum yet because we haven't been reimbursed from DOLA. I would say if we get reimbursed from DOLA for our expenses, then absolutely, I agree. If for some reason DOLA said, we're not going to reimburse you for that, then I think we need to sell it to them.
I
Does that
absolutely
make
agree
sense?
with that.
Okay, all
So,
right. So
yeah.
Vern, you on
Yes, sir.
task with
I'll
that?
work on that.
So you can certainly, in my opinion, have that conversation with either one of the mayors, but let's not cut the deal officially until we know if we've been reimbursed from the CARES Act money. from
Well,
DOLA.
sir, it's just an alternative. We could make the deal contingent upon if we're reimbursed, there's no fee. If we're not reimbursed, here's the fee.
Right.
But let them use the equipment immediately
right.
because they need it now.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, you complete the sale later.
Okay. Sorry, I digressed a little bit off of the CBRF, but I think in a way it kind of tied to it. Anything else, gentlemen, under that report? Attorney items, we will.
Do we want to vote on that?
Yes, sorry, that was a motion. So further discussion, thank you, appreciate it. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of authorizing IT director to dispose of county sound equipment, unneeded sound equipment, say aye. Commissioner Flower votes aye. Oops, gosh. Commissioner,
all screwed up this
yeah, Commissioner Prince,
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda,
Aye.
opposed? After 3 hard raps of the gavel, the motion carries. That authorization has been granted. Oh my gosh, I'm out of control. I'm worried about the whole attorney item thing. All right, we're going to skip that.
I'm the one all screwed up this morning. I'm having a baby today. And this
That's
is,
right.
my mind is kind of
Oh,
fluttering.
God. We will also skip the administrative assistant items and move on to public comment. If anybody has any public comment for the commissioners that is not pertinent to anything on the agenda, now would be the appropriate time. I only show yourself and one other person on the Zoom call. Vern, is that correct?
I see 10.
Louise Epp and Tracy Ballard,
Oh,
and I guess there's.
I guess I'm not showing on those
There's a number
participants.
there.
There we go. Yeah.
I'm showing them muted. Will they be able to come over if they?
They can unmute themselves.
They got it.
You do not have them muted, is
Okay,
that correct?
got it. I'm sorry. I
All
didn't
right.
need to.
Mr. Miles, anything, sir?
No, sir.
Other public comment?
No one is unmuted.
Hearing none, we will move on. Staff reports, landfill. I don't know if, I can't see in the hall.
He's out there. I
Okay.
haven't seen him. Is he sitting out there now? Other than-
Okay, all right. Well, we'll reserve the right to come back if we need to. Road and Bridge submitted a report. He is laying asphalt today, so he indicated that he would try to get here if he could, but if he didn't, we can, it's up to you guys. We can wait or we can go ahead and look at his report. There's not much there, but I'd rather talk to him personally, but you all right with that, Commissioner Prince?
I'm fine with it.
Okay, so we'll move on. Human Services,
Not gonna see it.
if you don't mind, yes, ma'am, sorry. Or I could, well,
Want to take
I can
a
call her real quick.
gather everybody in?
Oh, yeah, we can call.
Okay,
Let's see here. Engine 100, yep.
while we're doing that, let's go ahead, if you don't mind, gentlemen, look at the VSO report. That was provided to us in the board packet.
Laura?
Yeah, that's fair. He's not here.
Oh, she is. We were ready for.
I'll go ahead and move. We accept the September 2020 VSO report as submitted.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded to accept the VSO report for September. A hard copy of it. Any discussion?
He's a very busy young man and I appreciate his efforts.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. Commissioner Flower votes aye. Commissioner Prince,
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda,
Aye.
opposed. Motion carries. That report has been approved.
Who made that motion and who seconded?
Jay and Tom.
Jay
Or
made.
no,
the
Jay and
motion,
me.
and Bill seconded it.
And Laura was in a meeting, but Stacy was gonna see if she could step out
Okay,
and if
okay.
she called Glenn there.
Yes, of course, we'll end up having them both here at the same time, but that's all right.
Hello. Hi, they're ready for you. Okay.
Mhm.
So while we're waiting, I'm just confirming that the coronavirus relief fund meeting is in this room at 1:30 today. Is that correct?
I have it at West Cliff Town Hall today at 1. And
Okay, I'm so glad I asked that.
yes, and then you sit wherever you'd like, ma'am.
Let's see what I put them on my camera.
I have it.
I got a one at 1:30.
I have it 1:30, but I have it here.
I got it
Sorry.
at West Cliff
I
Town Hall.
apologize.
It is West Cliff Town Hall. You're correct.
Yes, at 1:30, yes.
1:30.
I was on the wrong page. I got too many coronavirus meetings.
I know we've changed those dates around. That's why I want to confirm it.
Yeah.
So thank
So-
you.
Oh, good. I
Okay.
can. Yeah, I have somebody on the office.
What did I say?
And I don't have my right mask.
Good morning, welcome. How are you?
I just kicked the person out of my office. Oh, no, we're not. That's right.
You sit wherever you
See,
like.
yeah, we can't do that, can we?
Just fine here. No problem at all. I was gonna bump your elbow here.
Well, then we can do
I'll
that.
do that.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's the day after a holiday, so it's crazy time.
Yes. I
Crazy time.
Understand.
But outside of that, I'm okay.
Good.
As far
Thank
as
you
I
for
know.
providing us your report. Appreciate that.
Oh, anytime.
Well, you do as good a job as anybody, so
Oh, good.
we get a lot of
You
reports you
do a
don't
better
get.
job than
And I
Manny.
just want to state.
That was
for
a
the
very
record
nice compliment.
Yeah.
that
I
Laura-
fixed it.
Laura sent her report in like a week ago.
Yeah.
Well, that's because we had a little time where it wasn't crazy and I knew it was gonna be crazy, so I just
Better get her done.
got her done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew the end of the month and the first of the month was gonna be hectic. So I'm like, can't do that now.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yeah.
for doing that. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right,
And
you're up.
we're doing okay on this report. The ones that show 100% are the ones where we just have to meet, and that's TANF and daycare.
Mhm.
That's because we just have to put in a maintenance of effort and we've already done that. And then the rest of it, the state picks up. So that's why that looks funny, but that's because we've already done what we need to do on our end of it. But everything else, like, and I hope I am on the same old age pension. Okay, because.
Yes, you are.
Okay. We're doing fine on, and then the next one is LEAP. And LEAP stopped in August this year because of COVID. And now it's starting up in November. So you'll just see zeros for September and October.
Right.
And changes going on in LEAP. They've kind of cut down the amount of money they're paying for certain things. My EOC grant was cut in half because they don't have funding. So it could be a little tight for people this year. So community service block grant, I won't know how much we're going to get from that until January or something. Yep.
I'm sorry, after all these years, I should know.
Energy Outreach Colorado, EOC.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
We just get so used to
I should
saying those
know.
things.
It's also an emergency ops center.
Yeah. Energy Outreach Colorado.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I asked for 10,000 something and I got 5. So it was half and they said, yeah. And they're trying to take a lot of their money and give it to LEAP. And so LEAP's, they're pushing everybody to apply for LEAP. So
Can you assist with energy outreach from LEAP? Their energy bills and heating bills and stuff?
yeah,
LEAP qualifies for that?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
see what happens with that. We have to make sure that they apply for LEAP before we can do energy outreach.
Got it.
And if they come in and they say, I've got a shut off and I need it right now, I have to have them fill out a LEAP application first and then an EOC application. And then I can keep their shut off from happening with energy outreach, with EOC, energy outreach, because LEAP's not going to kick in that fast.
Got it.
So we can do it that way, but we have to have them apply before we can do a LEAP application.
Thank you.
I mean, before we can do an energy outreach.
Mhm.
So But yeah, it's gonna be a little tight for people this year. It's gonna be tight for everybody, I think, this year. And Medicaid transportation, that's just a pass through. And we didn't have a whole lot of people going in the month of, to doctors or whatever in July, but it picked up in August. I think COVID had something to do with that, as we all know. And the community service block grant, I got some additional money that was COVID money only, and we have until the end of December to use that. So I've done that, and they increased the amount of money we can give for COVID. So I've helped pay some rents and mortgages and stuff like that with that one. Okay, and then there's energy outreach, and then food assistance. The state is, I haven't heard this month, but they've been doing full benefits to everybody since March. So that's good for people. I just hope that they realize when that goes off, they're not going to have that. And I hope that they're spending that money wisely. And then our TFAB distributions, we've been doing 30 boxes. Sometimes we just see 25 people, households, you know, anywhere between 25 and 30, but we're still doing that, and we're still getting a fair amount of food right now.
Do they have to be quote unquote registered to take advantage of the TFAP?
They need to prove that they live in Custer County, and they also have to meet a income guideline for that. It's not like the Share Center. We actually have a guideline for that.
And do they have to do that ahead of time?
No, they can just come and they can provide us, you know, a bill or driver's license that has their address here. And then I just ask them what their monthly income is, and then they tell me, and then I check to make sure it meets the guideline.
Is there obviously a maximum on that income? Or
Mhm.
you know what that is, right?
No, right, no, I don't. Depends on the number of people in the household and that type of stuff. So no.
So I've had a couple people, well, I take that back, 2 people, but they were in the same family. So I've had a family ask me, how can they take advantage of this service? And I said, well, obviously you need to talk to you, but they could show up that day. And
They can
be prepared to
show
give you
up that day
information.
and get a box. And our next, I don't have a calendar, so, oh, there's one.
Take it off.
No, it's good right there. So I will get commodities here. We will be doing our next distribution on the 22nd, no, 21st, sorry, 21st of October at 9 o'clock in the scale, back in the scale house. So if you see them and you want to tell them that, they can show up.
Okay.
We usually get it in the papers, and Stacy puts that out on Facebook, on our Facebook page, and we try to get it on our website. So we try to get it out everywhere so people know what day. We've also been putting little reminders in the boxes of when the next distribution is going to be. And we just drop them in the boxes so people can remember. Because it's weird. It just depends on what day the commodities come in as to when we're going to give them out. So it's confusing to people. It's not a certain day. So
Got it. Thank you.
and LEAP started October 1st. People that applied last year actually got applications starting in September. October 1st, we could start entering them. We've already got stacks of them. So, but we're staying ahead of that. And we've got laptops now, which we can take home and work at night. We got those because of COVID from the state. We all now have a laptop in our office, which is wonderful, paid for by the state, yes. So if this ever happens again, we are all ready to go. They're imaged, although we're having problems with one switching back and forth from Google to Internet Explorer, which is killing us. But anyhow, we're trying to figure out what the deal is with that. But that has been very helpful to get those laptops.
Good.
So I think that's about all that we have. Can't think of anything right off the top of my head.
Well, again, appreciate your reports.
You're welcome.
Certainly helps. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Just a question, just kind of off the wall, I ask this about every 6 months or so. Are there folks in our community that need help and you have to turn them away? Where? I see you shaking your head. No, that makes me feel good.
Well, I'm trying to think of somebody, but I mean, we do have a few that I had somebody the other day that needed help paying a rent or something, and I'd already helped them, and I can't help them anymore. So sometimes I'll refer them to a church.
Perfect. That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask. There's a referral process to make sure that we just don't say.
No. And I did want to say, I don't know if you noticed in the paper though, that I'm looking for another caseworker because I've got somebody is leaving. So we'll just see what happens, but they're not leaving until like January. So that's given us a little bit of time on that. And the other thing was that CARES grant. I'm still not quite sure I'm understanding what we can use that for. Or, I mean, can you fill me that? Can you fill me in on how this thing is supposed to work? Who knows?
Yes. Any expenditures that you've already made,
Okay,
that you made because of the coronavirus,
okay,
so cleaning supplies or other things.
Right.
It doesn't have to be small. It could be large things too.
okay,
If you purchased it and you've already bought it, it's a reimbursement
okay,
that is directly related to COVID.
okay,
Then you should submit to us for us to consider it with the
Okay.
CARES group.
Unless, two unlesses there.
Right, unless one is, it's a budgeted item,
okay,
okay, and the second was what?
If it has been paid for by another grant.
Correct.
Oh,
This is
sure.
new expenditure, I'm sorry, you're absolutely correct.
sure, okay,
So
that
it's
makes
not
sense.
Not budgeted, not been paid for, out of pocket, unexpected expense, COVID related.
Okay, so if we needed something now, we could still buy it
Yeah.
now and get reimbursed? Is it
That's correct.
Well,
buy it until the end of the year? That's my question.
You can
Yeah.
project with how many more times or what more money you're gonna need. Just let us know, but then that's submitted each time that you buy it.
Well, when I'm looking at a large item, like a one-time item, we would be able to do that until December or something?
December 10th, yes.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
But, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's not a one submission. You can submit something today and in a week go, oh, these are new expenses, let's do that. And
Okay.
then there's gonna be a projection portion of this. If you project expenses through the end of the year that you haven't made yet, you could submit that and that'll be kind of a place marker for us to
Okay,
try and
Hold that money.
hold the money so that when you do, because it's all reimbursement now.
okay,
So after it's spent, you would submit it, the county would then pay you back and then we'd submit it to the state to get reimbursed.
okay, okay.
So we don't need to know what the item is. A dollar range, do you have any idea about that?
No, we're just trying to kind of understand how this works,
Right.
you know, and it says COVID related, which is kind of an open
Mhm.
Right, it is.
ended
It is very much so,
thing, you know?
very much.
So we're thinking, well, you know, if we would have had this when the COVID was going on, that would have been helpful. So it would be something like, okay, can we purchase that because it, you know,
We're still in the COVID.
we're still in a COVID
Pandemic,
thing, it
so
could
yes.
still happen. So,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
I
so
just
you-
wanted to get more
The
specifics
actual
on it.
term is a necessary expenditure
Related. to
related that hasn't been paid for in any other manner, either budgeted
Okay.
or
Okay,
from a state.
Now,
Okay.
if you were to go and make a purchase
Mhm.
and submit that to the committee then decides whether or not
they're
it
gonna
chooses
approve that,
to
consider that as an appropriate.
approve it. That's right. If they don't, then they'll reject that back to you. If they do, then you will get paid, reimbursed for that from the county. Then it is the county's responsibility to seek reimbursement from DOLA to get our money back. If DOLA said, no, we're not going to reimburse you for that expense, then it comes out of the county coffers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
Don't hesitate to use it if it's something you need.
right.
okay,
As Jay indicated, the law says a necessary expenditure due to the COVID pandemic.
okay,
If you believe that is true, then I would guess that would go through the process. But
okay,
it could be rejected locally, could be rejected at the state level.
Okay, all right.
You wouldn't get rejected at state level, the county would.
County.
Yeah, but the county would, you know.
Because we have to pay for it. We have to reimburse you.
Right, exactly. So, you know, that's why we were just trying to figure this out.
If you want to have an offline conversation about it, be glad to do that.
Yeah, we could, you know, maybe get into more
Don't
specifics about
hesitate
it.
to use it. That's what it's here for.
Okay,
All righty. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Have a good afternoon. Good day.
Great job. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you do.
We have problems all over the place.
Miss Guinevere, how are you?
Employee.
You're welcome to come forward, or you can stay back.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you. Thank you for coming down.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is that your hairbrush?
I did. Well, I thought we're planning for the awards banquet. And I've
COVID
been,
related.
yeah, I've been so excited about these
Oh.
brushes, but the kids that got to the top
Oh,
10
cool.
and they had a
Oh.
livestock project. This was their award. So
Wow, good.
I know I'm
Yeah.
pretty, it's coming right up. So
Yeah, we got your reminder of that.
yay. I know. I was
10
like,
days
I
out.
RSVP.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so floor is yours.
Okay, so Rachel's been in charge of that awards banquet, and she's got everything pretty much planned. Pretty excited. CSU still is saying we can do in-person events, although there's some rumbling that this may change. So always trying to prepare for what that might look like. We did have a 4-H leader meeting this month and kind of talked about trying to plan for not in-person 4-H events. I think everybody's a little bit tired of Zoom. So we'll try and just work with the rules the best that we can, but hopefully still retain those 4-Hers and bring back some that we lost because of COVID last year. So all kind of a waiting game, unfortunately. With the Western SARE grant that I got, I applied that rust fungus to 6 properties. And then it got too cold. So what we're gonna do is hold on to those last 2 things of rust fungus and try it again next year. Set up monitoring plots for those. So we'll just kind of do photo data points this year, next year, and next fall and kind of monitor those. The hope is that we can then collect spores from those plants infected and move those to other plants, thereby increasing the control of Canada thistle with rust fungus. I plan to put a report together for CSU and the SARE grant. So if you guys are interested in looking at that, more than welcome to share that with you. The Cuerna Verde wildfire mitigation project is moving forward. We just heard from the contractor that the pre-project meeting is October 21st or 22nd. So I'm just going to check in with the other players on that, make sure that works. So we're excited to get that done. This month, I'm assisting my colleague who's a grazing specialist with a soil health workshop out at the Oswalds, technically in Fremont County, but up here on this. So we're working together to bring in Nicole Masters, who's like a soil health guru, and we're going to invite some people and really take some soil samples and really talk about how increasing microbes in the soil can increase production at ranches and farms. So I'm really excited about that. And then the final thing I have is our AmeriCorps lady. She works during the day, so I would love to have you meet her sometime. She's been doing after-school programming out at ACE because it's very challenging to find a place to hold stuff. So ACE is being a really good partner.
That's great.
Really appreciate that. And so right now we're just doing some nature school stuff, trying to take advantage of the nice weather. Next week we have stream health and things like that. So Andrea reports that it's about 5 to 10 kids per day, and it's every day after school.
Wow.
So that's pretty exciting.
Couldn't get into the school.
Nope, they wouldn't let anybody in. So we asked, we'll probably on Fridays have something at the Baptist church. They're allowing that, but their afternoon schedule is booked. So Fridays might be out there. We're just trying to hammer out all these pieces.
I wonder, 5 to 10 kids. The last time I was in the BSO building, it was a warehouse upstairs because he had a bunch of food in there. But I haven't been over there. If that was vacant, that'd be a great place to do that.
Okay.
Stuff's
But
downstairs, it is.
Ace may like the exposure, and I don't know if they're doing projects or whatever, if Ace donates materials, whatever, it may be just perfect for them out there. I don't want to circumvent that, but in the afternoons after school, 4 o'clock would be ideal
Yeah.
time slot to get into the VSO office. So
Should I
if
just
you-
make a call over
if
there?
you need, no,
Nobody's there.
nobody's there, he's out on leave. If you think you might need that,
Okay.
at least for the next couple of weeks, I think the commissioners could certainly, by consent, allow that to happen and make arrangements.
That would be great. That's like walking distance.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Something closer to school would be ideal.
Yeah,
but-
because transportation is also an issue.
Yeah, so pursue that if you want and holler at me or any of the commissioners. And I did, unless you guys have a objection to that,
No,
No, it's a good idea.
okay.
And you're saying just for a couple weeks or?
Well, if it's after school, it could be a long-term thing because that office is closed at 4.
Yeah, because
So,
our next kind of section, which will be like November through December, we're gonna do cooking. Is there a kitchen?
there is,
Would that be something we could use?
can't speak to how functional that is, but you could certainly look
Take
into
a
it.
look at it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So for next steps on that, just wait, or will you guys do something or should I?
Why don't you take the lead on it? If you want to pursue that, you talk to your AmeriCorps gal, what's her first name again?
Andrea?
Andrea. See what she thinks. Again, not trying to undercut or undermine Ace, but if this is a better location all the way around, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, she works at ACE, so I think there's,
Oh,
yeah, so it's a
okay.
good, it's a good match.
Oh.
but,
so just an offer.
Yeah, no, I have on my list to call Sarah today, so
Okay,
we'll hammer out all those details.
okay.
But would that look like I come and ask for permission at the next
No, I think
meeting or?
if by consent,
Okay.
holler at me, I'll get you a key, and we can go from there. Go ahead, Kel.
There's a calendar on that
Yes.
door
Okay.
that you might check because other groups do use it. And so,
Yeah,
and write it down so that nobody else can
Right.
use it too.
does that last for an hour or so, or
Yeah,
Hour and a half.
2 hours.
2 hours? So, yeah, if nobody's on those dates, it's first come, first served. You just put whatever your program title is, 4 to 6.
Cool.
List whatever day you want to do it. It
Yeah,
should
and
be
I don't
fine.
think very many people use it.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll look at that kitchen because that could be helpful.
and if
Yeah,
the-
if that,
did you check with that kitchen down at the old Porth building? They have a kitchen down there that they use for the groups.
I'm
And
not- Is that still in?
I thought they took
I
that
don't-
out
I don't know.
and made a,
Who's the they?
Oh, when Miss Schwartz moved in there.
It was like they called it the
Yeah, it was a community
a
kitchen.
community
Yeah.
kitchen because we actually made jelly down there one time with CSU.
Okay.
But I don't know. Did they take that out?
Yeah,
we
I
talked,
heard about
she
that.
talking about that big room on the back.
Yeah, Well,
Yeah.
the back where the dentist is, and then there was a small cubby hole. And the kitchen was in the front where Miss Cheryl Schwartz does her jewelry.
Hmm.
That used to be the community kitchen, but now it's Miss Schwartz's
So it may not be
business.
something to look into, but
Sure. I have a crummy kitchen where my law office is.
Okay.
If it would work for you, I'd be delighted to give you the key and let you use it.
Okay.
It's not very nice, but if you're desperate,
Yeah,
It
we
might
we
work
might
just
be.
fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll check out the BS and hit you after
if
that.
I'm last choice, come see me. We'll take a look.
Well, when you preface it as the crummy kitchen.
Yeah.
You didn't really sell
You
yourself.
really know how to sell something, Jay.
that automatically goes to the last.
No, that's why I'm trying to say,
But I
it
do
is an
appreciate
option.
that. Thank you
Not
very
a
much.
great one, but it's an option. And without creating any hardship at all, if it's possible and could work out, I'd sure like to meet your
Yeah.
AmeriCorps
Yeah.
volunteer. I'd thank her for the job she's doing.
Yeah, I think she really enjoys it. Like she just always has a
If
smile on
that-
her face. Yeah,
Don't take her away from her duties or whatever, but if she's available at some meeting and she could just stick her head in, I'd like to say hello.
okay. I will
Thank
do
you.
that. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
anything else?
That's it.
So I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Conservation districts having their meeting
Oh,
this
yeah.
month. Are you going?
Yeah, I
Okay.
RSVP.
Good.
Yeah, it would be great to, I don't know how to prepare for that, but I have lots of ideas, so if we wanna get the weed board together or whatever prior to
Yeah.
that, I would.
Yeah, they've asked me to speak at that a little bit, so, yeah, I would like to visit with you a little about that.
Perfect.
And if I may digress here just a minute, because I'll forget it if I don't, gentlemen, because I am scheduled to present at that Conservation District meeting on Thursday, I would ask for one of you to volunteer to zoom in on the Upper Arkansas Water Conservancy District meeting.
Be glad to.
Yeah, I can't do it. I'm on Action 22, and I meant to mention that Thursday and Friday.
Thursday, I'll forward you that email right now. Let me do that while we're talking about it. So yeah, I wanted to just see if you were planning on going that. I knew Chair had told me he was going to reach out to you, and I hadn't followed up with you since then. So.
Well, yeah, when you got time this week or whatever, if you do,
Okay.
let me know.
Okay. Let me pull that up real quick.
What day is it? Do you remember?
This Thursday, 1 o'clock. Yeah, I'll send you that email as soon as I find it. Okay. Anything else, ma'am?
Nope,
Thank you for coming down. I appreciate that.
I'll work on more time.
Other questions or comments for Ms. Winger?
Tony said that the World Bank would is the 10th
15.
or the 15th.
Yes.
I had written it down, but I lost it.
Yeah, out of Alpine Lodge, I think 6 to 8.
That's our FD deal, right?
Yep.
We're getting some feedback all of a sudden, Vernon.
It's coming off your mic, Vernon, or the host.
What's that?
Getting some feedback off your mic.
Hey, Jay, I'm sending you that information right now for Upper Ark. Thank you for zooming in. I'll try to remember to forward them. Okay, ma'am, thank you very much.
See you next
Appreciate it.
week.
All right. Take
Good
care.
night.
Jail.
Thanks. See ya.
Yep,
See you later.
take care. Give me just a second here.
I got it.
Okay, and I'm gonna let the secretary know that you will be representing us. I mean, if you're dying to drive up there, you can go sit in that live, but
No, I don't go to any live meetings.
I'm with you. I've gone to one.
I won't do it.
Okay, so I let them know, Jay, that you'll be representing us. Thank you for volunteering to do that.
Good for them.
So landfill, road and bridge, planning and zoning obviously will not be here. They're out on an inspection. So I'm going to ask you guys your opinion about this. Do we want and expect these staff reports to be made on a regular basis to the county commissioners, either in written form or in person? Or is it a hit and miss approach?
I don't know, I thought it was something we do.
Well, I did too. And we keep, I don't mean to be critical, but we keep, it seems to me like we keep being more and more like, if you want to give it, fine. If you don't, that's okay.
Road and Bridge.
He indicated, and he gave us his
Relate.
report. I'm not picking on anyone. I'm just asking philosophically where we shake out with that.
I don't think it should be hit or miss. That's my opinion.
I feel that we need to know what's going on. They need to do it. If they know of a conflict ahead of time, I think we could reschedule their report in place. But I feel we need to know what they're up I don't want to say what they're up to, what projects they're working on, if there are any issues that come up, things that you talk to us, and just keep us informed of the areas that they're responsible for. But I'm fine, for example, Road and Bridge. He had a major project this morning. He let us know.
And send us his report.
Finish his report. Now, I know you want to talk in general, but I'll talk about the landfill. He's coming in tomorrow to talk about the recycling. And he said, I guess I'm going to have to come 2 days in a row. And I said, I guess so. And he said, okay. So I didn't say to him, just come for one.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have minded if he would have said, can I give my report at that time? I wouldn't have minded, although it wasn't on the schedule.
Right, and that's, I guess, where I'm hung up a little bit. If I would say we have to post these agendas 24 hours in advance.
Right.
If there's a deal cut on the side to say, well, yeah, just give it tomorrow, I don't have a problem with it, other than the fact
It needs to be.
that we're not honoring what we should be doing is posting on our agenda. So and of course, during an amend the agenda portion of our agenda, we could change that. And you could say, I want to amend that by striking landfill and putting it in tomorrow, and here's why. I don't have a problem with that. That's going through the process. I just, again, I'm not talking about any of the staff specifically. I get this feeling of there's this sense of, yeah, I'll give it if I have time. Well, I don't buy into that. I agree with Commissioner Canada. It's on the agenda. You need to be here at 9:15. We try to honor that. Of course, there's mitigating circumstances. I understand that.
So what I remember from before, I think there's some confusion on how they find out what time they're given their gig. And that, I know it's here, but I remember when Brian came from the landfill and he said, well, it's posted, so and somebody said and I remember us saying it's the first 2 days of the month we get reports, and so how should we make sure they have the agenda?
I email it to them.
Right, to each one of them.
And
right?
remind them,
Right.
Get me your report.
So if that's the case, which it ought to be all the time what you're doing, they should know exactly when they're supposed to be here.
Sure. So I guess then about processes, if that is the process, then we need to look at Ms. Kelly and say, why aren't we getting these reports? She's the clerk to the board, right? Then that puts the onus on Kelly to lean on those people and say, hey, these commissioners are biting me in the hiney. Give me your stinking reports. They want them. I need them. They need to be in the board packet.
Or just
Not
let
today.
you know that there's going to be a conflict, and so you can get it, dealt with.
So what do you think, Kelly?
I can send out an email and say, hey, I mean, I can do that.
You already do that.
I don't want to run them down. I don't feel like it's my
Okay,
place
that's what I wanted your
to
input about.
say, hey, I asked for your report. I don't have it. I mean,
But they can't say, I didn't know what.
to me, they're adults. It's part of their
Right.
job.
That's exactly right.
And if we don't, it is part of their
I
job.
mean, I
That's
don't even think
exactly
they
right.
need to send a reminder, but I do.
So you wouldn't be offended if the commissioners then reached out and said, why in the world don't we have your report today? That's okay. All right. Which I don't have a problem doing that. I just think if we're going to put it on the agenda, schedule the time, then those reports either need to be given to us ahead of time or they need to be here to present that report in person. I'd prefer a written report from every staff report. Guinevere didn't get that done. It'd be nice to have that ahead of time so that we could ask some intelligent questions or give some
I
thought to
read
that.
everyone.
So I just think the next time you send out that agenda,
I'll put a little blurb in there and say.
must have submit a written
have to
report
have this. Yeah.
or,
Written reports are required.
yeah, written reports required
So
ahead of time. So this has to be posted 24 hours in advance. I don't know that it's unreasonable to ask for have those written reports submitted to Kelly 48 hours in advance, then she can get them to us no later than 24 hours in advance. I don't like getting them the morning of.
Well, and
It's
then
not her fault.
it would have to be, because some people do send them to me early, and then I try to set, I have been sending the agenda, what reports I have out on the Friday before. So that gives you guys the weekend
Well,
and reports that I don't have, I send out an email and remind them.
Okay.
But maybe what I'll do is I'll start emailing them on Thursday and say, hey,
Need your
because
written
if they
report
can
by
get it to
tomorrow.
me by Friday, because 48 hours isn't gonna, because if you give me a report on Tuesday, 48 hours is Sunday,
Yeah,
and that's not gonna,
well, 2 business days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
hours. Go ahead.
I was disappointed, not with you, but I was disappointed that I received, once I'm already sitting here, 2 reports this morning. I'm going, that did not give me time to read them, digest them, and come up with information that I need. So I concur, we need
Right.
to set the policy 40 hours in advance. And if something in those 40 hours
Yeah.
comes up, 2 days,
Yeah.
and someone says, I have something to report that isn't in my report because it
That's
came up
fine.
since then,
No
I think
problem.
that's wonderful.
No problem.
So, yeah, so.
How about
I would like
2
to set that
days?
policy.
Prior to a BOCC staff report or
so if you're on Tuesday, I should have it on Friday. If you're on Wednesday, I should have it on Monday.
Yeah.
I like it.
And then I think it would only be fair for us to ask you to send us those as soon as you can, which today may have been as soon as you could. We don't know
The,
that.
I know
the 2
that.
I got today,
Yeah.
or the 2 I sent today, I received tomorrow, and we weren't, or I received yesterday,
Right.
and we weren't here yet.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, there's always going to be some circumstances, and I'm going to overlook those. Gary may not have known, but at least he got you his report and it got to us. That's under circumstances, I think that's acceptable.
so if you look at
Normal
what the agenda
circumstances.
today is, all of them had an excuse. They met everybody we knew on this case.
I didn't
Brian,
have Phil.
Brian, well,
No, I didn't.
Phil, you knew, and you gave him the option.
I did
No,
not.
you did
I
not.
thought you did.
No, sir.
And maybe we should have, but anyway, and then the road and bridge did their thing. Human services were here. VSO we knew, extension was here, and planning and zoning we know. So if we're not banging on this, it's just the process itself.
Right. Well, we certainly could have had a planning and zoning written report today, and the same with landfill. So I just think that is a reasonable request to ask to have those written report. Oh, it's right there, Jay, on the floor.
Thank you.
Yeah. Written request 2 days before their appearance before the BOCC. Is that reasonable, Kelly, in your book? Okay, thank you. All right, sorry about that. Any unfinished business, gentlemen? Well, let's go back. I'm sorry. Let's go back and look at Road and Bridge report real quick, since he obviously is not going to be here. It's kind of a standard thing. I've never really compared them. I'm assuming those road names change, but
They did.
uh,
They did a good job on the asphalt at the airport. Coincided perfectly with when they were available.
good. One of the things I want to have a conversation with Gary about, I would like to see the county expend significant dollars on mag chloride and some of these other roads. I just think we have to do something to keep moving forward in the road maintenance project. It's really none of my business other than being a commissioner. I don't understand all the ins and outs of that. I know it's process, but I still think we've got 3 main arteries into this community that get hammered a lot. And if somebody were to ask me, which I doubt they ever will, but if somebody did say, hey, what road do you think we ought to mag chloride? I think a good portion of the Pines, a good portion of Hermit, a good portion of Muddy, Rosita Road, those that get used a lot. And I just think, I feel like I need to encourage Gary to look at that mag chloride. I don't know, we're never going to get these roads chip sealed. Hell, it's just absolutely unreasonable to think we can afford to do that. But I do think that this mag chloride thing could be reasonable approach.
That's right. In my talks with him, Tom, the mag chloride is on the top of his list. That's his fallback when you can't do chip seal because it's so expensive. And he has made progress down on Great Oak Creek, Rosita Road. Did real well for a while, but it needs attention. And so it's something we need to discuss if we're going to spend money. That'd be a good budget thing to say, let's prioritize some of this stuff, give him the opportunity to juggle his budget. And if it's not enough, then we're going to have to figure out maybe there's another way of augmenting it.
It's gonna be a good discussion budget here.
Right.
And just from personal
People really
experience-
love it.
Yeah, personal experience, I tell you, I was using Rosita Road every day and made a tremendous difference for a lot, and it lasted a long, long time. So I concur with your assessment.
Okay, thank you. You're still not back in your house, huh?
And my house is not going to be available for 3, 4, 5 more months.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of damage done.
Hmm.
They keep finding more, they can go, yeah.
So, I just would like to have a conversation with him about that, budgetarily and philosophically and see.
Got it.
And then I know he wants to talk about, obviously, water rates. There's going to be a change in that with Round Mountain. We're kind of a puppet to whatever they decide they're going to do and when they're going to do that. But we know we're going to have to start spending a little more money on water. So, and then I'm not sure what he meant on vote on an action item, unless, well, I just don't know what that meant.
So
But
that, I don't know.
I don't have a clue either.
so, and again, these are just things he wanted to talk about. And so obviously you can have that, but, and then I think the other thing we as commissioners need to have a conversation with him about is what does the future look like for Wetmore Road and Bridge? What his thoughts and plans are about filling those positions down there. If in fact Kevin Day gets elected, then obviously he's going to have a assistant supervisor position open. So I just would like to have those conversations with him as well. And I don't know that it's efficient for me to go have that conversation one-on-one when it really is a commissioner conversation, a board, the OCC. Yeah.
She needs to be brought in here and I'll talk to him about my job.
So, anyway, any other questions on the,
I didn't see anything in the report that jumped out at me, but
yeah,
I often don't.
okay. All right, well, we'll move on then. I just wanted to finish that up. Okay. Any unfinished business, gentlemen?
I have not.
Matt, is there anybody in the hallway? Wait,
There's not.
okay.
I think she was gonna be on Zoom.
Oh,
Are you talking about tourism?
She's planning 10.
I'm here. I'm here.
thank you. I'm gonna, with respect, Deb, if you don't mind, if there are no objections, I'd like to take about a 3-minute recess. I don't want to milk this out any longer because.
Oh,
you
sure.
are, so if you don't mind, we will stand in recess. I show 10:17. Let's resume our meeting at 10:20.
Let me ask Deb a quick question. Hey, Deb, are you just on your phone?
I am on my phone.
So that's a 303 number. I was just curious because
You're coming in just absolutely crystal
coming
clear.
in. Good.
Yeah, I don't find that the Zoom video works well for where I am, which is out in Cuerno Verde.
Okay, well, we've installed new technology for today's meeting, and this phone connection we have with you right now is absolutely crystal clear. So I hope
Excellent.
it's the same way on your end. So we'll be in recess here for a couple minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
He's here if you want to talk to him after she's done.
Ms. Deb, are you still on?
I am still on.
Okay. We had been waiting for a road and bridge report. Mr. Hyde was on a project pouring or placing asphalt. He indicated in an email to us that he would come in as soon as that was over. He is here. Could I impose upon your time to give us about 7 or 8 more minutes to deal with road and bridge staff report before we move on to new business?
Yes, you can. And I just want to make a comment that I personally love the mag chloride on airport. It has made a huge difference. It's really made a huge difference in keeping that road more drivable. So I caught a thing of mag chloride and I think it works great. Yes, so I'll just hold.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate that. Mr. Hyde, thank you very much. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
How you doing?
Welcome, the old road grader you. I was in eastern Colorado, which I know you're familiar with that country out there. Not unusual to drive 70 miles an hour on those dirt roads.
Yeah.
Oh, they're just amazing. Mile after mile, and it's just totally different here than out there. I thought, my gosh, I finally found a little bit of washboard in front of somebody's driveway, which I'm assuming they pull out, hit the gas and go, spin the tires a little bit. Other than that, I probably was on 90 miles of gravel road out there. I never encountered any washboards. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to compare the two. It's really a stark contrast of the material they have to work with and their condition.
Well, I was 9-day where I came from.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, washboards were almost unheard of. Where
Yeah.
it came from, and people would drive anywhere from 70 to
Oh,
That's because they're long, straight roads.
They were.
yeah, those people drive on,
You could turn.
When you're not turning, it doesn't matter.
they drive on those roads like they are asphalt. I mean, you know, and you can see the dust for 20 miles, but nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in. We appreciate that.
So your vote is on this action item, just the 2 pickups. You meant that as a sub bullet.
Yeah, pretty much.
You didn't really
yeah,
mean a
yeah.
vote. You just wanted to discuss it.
Mhm.
So let's go back. I'll pull your report back up. Give me just a second here. Yeah, we kind of did go through it and had just a little discussion, but the floor is yours, sir. You go ahead.
Well, what's happened is we had 3 pickups at one time, 2 older ones and like a 06 or an 07. Well, the 2 older ones, one of them we surplused and got rid of because it wasn't worth spending the money to fix. It was like I don't know, the early 90s or late 80s pickup or something like that. In the second one, we've come up with the same situation. We're not willing to put money in it because it's what it would cost to fix it is going to be far more than the value of the unit itself. So now I'm in a position where I got motor graders coming to town, whereas if we had a pickup for them to drive, they could leave their unit out in the country and not be loading their motor grader to go back to town. And we simply don't have enough. Vince and I are spread too thin to go get these individuals. Once in a while, occasionally, they'll jump in with a water truck and they'll get their ride back to town, but that doesn't work out very well all the time. So I'm finally backed in a corner where I need a couple of pickups. So what I did was I got a hold of like 2 or 3 different vendors and got quotes on a build for one with the government discount, which I looked at used ones, and by the time you factor in the government discount, which is usually from $6,000 to $8,000 per pickup, that's what kind of a break you get on it, basically. We can get it a new one for almost what we're going to pay for a used one, and the used one, you know, we're going to have 50 to 80,000 miles on. So anyway, in my budget, I can actually afford to buy one outright this year with my budget. If we got a second one, we'd have to do a supplemental to the budget. I'd have to get with Donna and work something out on that.
Vern had a question.
I have experience buying, what kind of truck are you looking for?
We're looking at a new GMC or Ford.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a 2500 with 2500 Dodge with a 6.4 Hemi engine, 4-door, full bed for, I think the price on that was 32,000.
Yeah, see, I'd rather.
With government processes. So that was the ballpark.
I'd rather not have a Dodge for one thing.
Okay.
I talked to my mechanics about it, and they prefer I stay away from a Dodge. And then, is this a diesel or a gas?
That's a gas.
Yeah, I definitely want to get a gas engine. I need a long bed. I'd like to stay away from cloth interior. I'd like to have vinyl floor mats and seats. They're just, it's basically a work truck. Easier to keep clean, so.
Gary, if I may, you said you had money in this year's budget. Did you include money for a pickup in that, your proposed budget for next year? Did you include that?
I believe I did, yeah.
And how much, if we bought one this year in this year's budget and we approved it for next year, waiting that period of time till January before the budget kicks in, does it work for you?
Yeah.
If you need it right now?
No, if we could even just get one right now, I mean, that would help our situation.
Well, I think getting one now is smart because it's a year in and you get deals from these dealers.
Well, that's just it.
Not on a bill, though, you wouldn't.
Well, they might. They're trying to unload them.
Well, I did actually get with Pharisee. I was in Canyon over the weekend and they've got a pickup down there that fits the bill 100% for what I'm looking for. And a new one that I got a build price for a Ford was $33,700, and the one down there on the lot's $31,457. And it's perfect for what we're looking for. It's got all the features, 4-wheel drive, 3/4 ton, single cab. I prefer to get into a single cab.
That saves a lot of junk on the back seat and the floorboard, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if I get into
towing it behind a grader or whatever, it would make sense.
Yeah, well, we just don't have the need for the second seat.
Right.
Mr. Chairman and Mr. Rodenbridge, I think if it's in the budget, it's needed. We have one that fits the bill. The price is reasonable and it's a necessity. I see no reason why we should wait. I mean, if we need it, we need it.
Recommendation, it's his money.
Now, the Monahan Canyon at Pharisee Brothers, it is it's going to be $2,242 cheaper than having a 21 built.
Wow,
That, you know, it's 31.
Is it new?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's brand new.
I
So
would support that.
about, you know, it's one of them deals where it's essential to our operation. I hate to see these.
You gotta do it, you've got the money.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I suggest by consensus, we authorize Gary to go ahead and purchase his vehicle from his 2020 budget?
That's his.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable. Again, if it was an unbudgeted item, I'd prefer a motion, but since it's in his
It's his
budget,
budget.
That's why I did it the way I did.
right. So,
Just we-
yeah, I think then
Endorse it.
by agreement, Gary, you certainly have our blessing to move forward. And
Okay, and here is,
the other color
it's white.
is a white one.
Yeah,
They're all white.
I'd rather have white. They're easier to keep clean. And, you know, that's not to discount what you were saying either, Vernon. I appreciate that info. I mean, anything that can be added in.
The state representative can work with Forrest, so, but 31, that's great.
Yeah, pretty good price.
Hey,
Yeah, I
Gary,
think
how
this-
come the boys don't like Dodges? Ford's aluminum frame,
Yeah,
seems like it's risky.
I don't know. And I'm not exactly what the deal. I know that we've had good luck with Fords and it's kind of, that's one of the reasons we favor them.
Jim had aluminum bed, yeah.
No,
Okay, just curious.
sure.
Okay, what else, sir?
Round Mountain. We got notified here about a week or two ago that they're going to raise our rates considerably. And this is, you know, this is our water out here at the pump at the lake. It's going to go from, I'm going to say about approximately $2.50 per load, 4,000 gallon load to $20. So last year when I heard there was a rumor that the rates might go up, I reached out to Upper Ark.
Say that again, it's 2 to 20 for the whole load,
Yeah,
so it's
it's going to go up
10 times more.
Almost 10 times more. So anyway, it's going to affect our budget quite a bit. You know, instead of spending like, it's $6,000 annually for water, it's going to be more like almost 70. So I got a hold of Upper Ark last year, and that's who Fremont County gets their water from, Road and Bridge Department down on the river. And
Yeah, we're very familiar with that.
That's part of
yes,
the-
yeah.
They're stealing our water to do it.
But they told me that they've got water rights out here at Lake Louise and they can sell us water and it was going to save us a lot of money.
Right, and I had a conversation with Upper Ark about that. And I think I alluded to that in one of my reports to the commissioners. I think it's smart that we look at entering some kind of a lease agreement with Upper Ark.
And they did actually send me the lease agreement. We worked out how many acre feet that we would need based on our annual usage and things of that nature.
So where is it?
I let that go because the water rates didn't go ahead and raise this year. So now that we've been notified that they are going to raise after the first of the year, then I think that it'll only be smart that I pursue that with Upper Ark.
Yeah, I agree. I'd support that.
I'll get all the numbers together and if it's okay with you guys, I'll get at least
Bring it in.
brought in and show you what I end up with and what the savings will be and things like that.
Good idea. So have you talked to Round Mountain about this potable water being switched over to non-potable water? And would that price be the same?
I imagine it would be the same. And the problem we run into over here is this, that's the stuff that's not been treated.
Right.
Is that correct?
Right.
The volume that we could load a truck with is so slow that instead of only taking 9 or 10 minutes as we are allowed out here at the lake, that's all the longer it takes to load a truck. It would take us anywhere from 30 to 45.
Out of this,
Where are they pumping it out of?
It's right over here on the north side of the sheriff's office.
Oh, yeah.
Right there on the east side. That's a
Right.
place, that's a fill place. And they talked like they were going to make something different, but when I talked to, what's his name?
Dave Schneider.
Schneider, yeah. He told me what their volume was going to be. And I mean, it wasn't feasible for us to, plus the rates were going to be, I'm pretty sure they're going to be.
Yeah, if the rates are going to be comparable, then it doesn't matter. The last conversation I had with him was that they were going to convert this pump station on the west side. I thought he said maybe he was going to use that well on the east side, but we didn't talk about volume. So if that's,
I was a little surprised that they're going to raise the rates out here at the lake. Yes, that's just, I mean, that's untreated water. I mean, it's not costing them a tremendous amount of money to.
No, they're paying EVAP on it and storage, that's it.
I was pretty certain it would probably stay the same. That's since
Did
changed.
you argue with them? Yeah.
I gave up on that. I didn't talk to Dave one time, and he said that, no, the Round Mountain thoughts were they're no longer gonna, in a position where they can subsidize the Road and Bridge Department for their road work. So, and that's,
Well, I get that, but good God, raising it 1,000% is not even reasonable.
I didn't.
So that's my struggle. I don't mind paying them more, but again, it's untreated water, right? It's not going through their facilities. We're not using their pumps to pump that water. We're using our own.
Yeah, it's coming right out of Great Creek.
So it's the cost of
just
storage and
water.
EVAP loss. But I know they've got their finger in the vice just like everybody else, and they're about to go under, so they're scrambling to try to do whatever they can. I just hate for them to do it on 1,000% increase.
Yeah, it's a big increase. The other thing is we'll finish out doing asphalt down there at the airport today, and then tomorrow, I think by days in, we'll have it completely done.
You get the compaction done.
Get out of there.
Right, on the apron.
Oh, on the, over here in front of the garage. No, I've got filled there. I just haven't had
You
time
haven't had a
to
chance to
put
go.
back in and bring it up to the grade. that
And
we need.
you're already coordinating that with whoever the contractor was. I forget his name.
I did talk to Rusty Caldwell, and he
Okay, yeah.
told me what his schedule was.
Okay, so you can meet that.
Yeah, I can do that easily. So I'm hoping once we get this done, we'll get a couple other things taken care of and then get back down there.
I, as a commissioner, will ask you about spending extra dollars in 2021 on mag chloride. I think we have to move forward on some other roads, I'm talking about into addition of roads you're already mag chloriding. So I just want to throw that on the table as a discussion item at some point in the future to say, hey, is there any chance we can mag chloride some other
Some of
roads?
that future will be next
I
week.
think it's so important. I mean, I've seen what the difference it's made on Rosita Road and some of these others. And I think that's one of the better ways to spend our money for our infrastructure is to invest more in the mag chloride.
I agree.
I think it's so important.
I mean, and certainly I understand and I support this pickup purchase, this one and one next year, no problem with that. But there will be people in this county say, why in the hell are we doing that when these roads are going to pieces and we could be doing something?
Yeah, there's always that argument. I understand
I
that
do too,
argument too.
but I'd like to be able to say, we're going to do that and we're going to try to do some more of whatever it is. I don't care what that looks like, but
Just gotta see how much it is and how much road you can do.
yeah, and I think it's going to be a case where we have to dip into our fund balance.
I agree.
Spend
And I
it.
think that's
What it's for.
That's what it's for.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I mean, I'd
I'd
like
like to
to
do that. I
see
think
us
that's,
get another 50 miles of mag chlorided roads sometime.
I do too. In fact, I'm looking at doing a couple. We're going to have a little bit of money.
Yeah.
that we
You
can
gotta
put some-
prioritize.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I see where the volume of traffic is. And,
Right.
yeah, I can tell you exactly where it needs to go.
Well, I can't speak for the other commissioners, but I would support getting into that fund balance and getting some of that money spent on these roads because it's clear in my book that we need it. And if we can afford it, then I personally think we ought to be doing it. But
Well, the volume of traffic continues to go up
Oh,
annually.
yeah.
And 60 new permits issued by the end of September.
So we'll look at that next week a little bit.
So,
What else you got? We got
no, I
that
think
Debbie,
that's it. I probably ought to get back down.
okay,
You're doing
all right,
it.
sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a week, huh?
Yeah. Mhm.
You're gonna be late for your
Budget.
budget hearing. You won't get any money.
I'll be on time.
Thanks for coming in, buddy.
Take care. Good to see you, Jim.
Take care. Good to see you.
Thank you. Okay, Miss Deb, I think we're ready to move on to new business. First item of business is the Tourism Board Quarterly Report. Typically, we will allow for public comment on any items to be voted on. I don't imagine we're going to vote on this today, but if a motion comes out of it, I will be sure to ask for public comment. So, Ms. Deb, the floor is yours.
Okay, so I did send Kelly a written report. Did you have an opportunity to read it or peruse through it?
Yes.
Or do you want me to?
Your choice, but yeah, I looked at them. I didn't read every word of every document, but I certainly perused them.
Okay, well, I'll give it to you in a nutshell. Basically, This quarterly report is something that we want to do with the BOCC so you know what's going on, especially with tourism being one of the pillars of the Custer County Strategic Prosperity Plan. This year, we have had 20 articles in various publications, both online and in print, and they focused on different things. Of course, there's always stargazing, but also focused on the arts and antiques, the mountains. I haven't looked at this article, but it's Rough Jobs, Colorado's Pet Ambassadors. So I think Westcliff was mentioned in that. So in the news, we have definitely been discovered. That was on an upward trend before COVID-19 hit. And even though it has impacted visitors, I think we still had a strong summer. I got a report from Tom at All the Range that the Saturday of Labor Day weekend was the most incredible Saturday that he had ever experienced. So that's a good thing. And then, of course, the big news is that we have taken over the Chamber Visitor Center, closed it for the month of September, revamped it, and I know that I'm bugging you with my emails, but I really am excited to show all three of you what we have done, because it's a whole new place that not only welcomes visitors, but also welcomes locals. I will be staffing this Friday between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. if you're able to stop by. And it's only me being selfish that I personally want to give you the 5-minute tour. We have invested, so this was an unexpected thing, but fortunately we do have the funds. We have invested close to $7,000 in this welcome center, and that included repainting both the exterior and interior, updating the lighting. The lighting was halogen, and halogen is very hot and expensive. And fortunately, one of our board members, Wade Pettis, he used to be a contractor, so he has that skill set. So he upgraded the lighting to LED, and it really is like when you walk into the place, it's just beautiful. We've also installed a media system. So our other board member, Bob Swanson, that's his area of expertise. So there's 2 rooms in the Welcome Center, and the smaller room is the media area. And we're very excited about this small room because of how it showcases the community. On the TV, we will either have still photographs by local photographers of the Valley and other areas, not just the Valley. And then we also have the videos that Bob Swanson had done last year, and he'll be doing more. And those are short infomercials of businesses as well as experiences. We do have Bear Basin Ranch, and we also have San Isabel Lake. I know that our Lone Ranger video is a little out of date, but it's still a video. So that's on the screen. Then we have an area, a shelf area that is nicely lit. I've gone around to different shops and asked them to give me some products that we can show. And so this is the visit our local shops area. We don't sell anything in the Welcome Center, but we encourage people, here's some things that are available in town and where you can get them. And then there are 2 walls. One wall is devoted to the mountains. So it has a wonderful map of the Sangre de Cristos, and we've put a pin on all the trailheads. We have a book that has printouts of the hiking available. We do encourage casual hikers to hike the Rainbow Trail, just because going up to a mountain lake is a little bit more of a challenge. We're also working with Trails for All in getting more information about hiking and stewardship, leave no trace. So that's on one wall. And we also have books available for a resource. On the other wall is Dark Skies of the Wet Mountain Valley. We have information about our common heritage of the night skies. We have literature from the International Dark Sky Association. And the thing that I like is there's a map of the Milky Way that just shows where we are in the solar system. So the media room is meant to educate and inspire visitors and locals. And then in the larger room, and I don't know if you've recently been in the visitor center when it was operated by the chamber, but we've opened up a lot of space. And we have a business card rack. We have racks for literature. I did do an interview with KLZR encouraging businesses to get their information into us. And we do feel that the Welcome Center is a work in progress and will evolve. So I hope that when I'm staffing that I might see your smiling faces there. And it's something that we're very proud of, and I'm hoping that you'll also be proud of it.
Hey, Deb, Deb, this Bill
yes.
Cannon, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
This
I can.
is a test. What are the staffing hours going to be? What's your plan?
So at the moment, we just kind of took over the same schedule as the chamber. So for the month of October, it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. One of our members, Deb Snell, she was in town on Sunday, and she did indicate that, wow, it is really happening in town, and there's all these people. We'll consider a longer or being open more during the tourist season, you know, like maybe Wednesday through Saturday. The Sunday thing is a little iffy just because of volunteerism, but I am happy to say that for just opening up, we already picked up 4 volunteers other than board members. And I think as people come in and just get to know us and the space, that we'll probably get more. We're trying to have enough volunteers that you only have to volunteer 1 day a month. So right now, between the board members and the volunteers, we have 12. And so we're good now, but as we go into the summer, we hope that we'll have more volunteers so we can be open more.
Deb, I got a couple questions for you, if I may.
Yep, of course you may.
And with all respect, I've had
Yes.
somebody approach me and say, it appears that the tourism board is the Dark Skies board. I said, well, I don't believe that, but I said, I will carry your message forward. I'm convinced you're doing other things besides promoting Dark Skies.
Yes, I am, Tom. And also I should let you know, and I haven't made it official, but I am removing myself from the Dark Skies board so I can put my energy and attention into tourism. And it is not the Dark Skies board, but I hope that the commission, as well as most people in the community, understand that our hook, or what we're definitely known for, is the fact that we're a dark sky community. But the tourism board is not the dark sky board. We not only promote stargazing, but we very much promote hiking in the mountains, especially with the current climate with social distancing. Hiking here has become an attraction. And not only do we want to educate people about the hikes that are available, but we also want to educate them about leaving no trace and being stewards, because a concern that came up, this probably would have been a year ago, and it was a meeting between different organizations that Nicole Parsons led, and it was the outdoor sector. And the concern is with an increase in traffic that there will be an increase in trash or people just not taking care of our trails. And we really don't want to see that. So that is a main focus. And then we certainly, even though we've branded ourselves as the Wet Mountain Valley, we have not forgotten about San Isabel Lake. If you haven't seen the video on that, it's a wonderful video. Bishop Castle, I mean, the attractions that we have, we promote them all. And we feel that except for maybe shopping in town, all of them fit well into social distancing practices while we are in this situation.
Right.
Does that answer your question,
Yes,
Tom?
it did. Thank you. That's kind of what I expected, so I appreciate that. Another question. I did not research this because I knew I'd have a chance to ask you today. Again, with all respect, the expenditure on the money spent on the physical plant for tourism, is that a legitimate expense to use lodging tax dollars for?
Well,
those dollars were clearly earmarked as what they could be and couldn't be used for, and I just didn't go back and look.
Yes. Okay. So we made sure that it was in our bylaws that we are allowed to spend money on maintaining a visitor center. And like I said, I call it a welcome center. So we made sure that that was allowed. And then one thing that happened in the building, so it was a chamber building, and in the small room, that was Renee Smith's office. And it was filled with a lot of furniture. When we removed the furniture, we discovered that the subfloor was totally rotted. And the benefit to us, because it was up to the owner of the building, we were able to get a lovely, it's not hardwood, but it's what's it called? Vinyl wood, or, fake stuff. But the owner had to replace the floor. And so we were very happy that we could do that. So the expenditures that we made were all in line with what we had to do to revamp the space, like painting. And originally we thought, oh yeah, we'll all come together and we'll do the painting. And I'm so glad that we did not do that, because it was a big project. And by having a professional do it, they had the sprayer, they just did it right. And it was definitely the way to go. That was the biggest expense, was the painting, exterior and interior. The sign, so there was a sign on the building that said, Custer County Chamber of Commerce and Economic Development Corporation. So we removed chamber and put Custer County Welcome Center, and it was done by the same person who had originally done the sign, Casey Evans, in Canyon City. He's an amazing 77-year-old man, and so he basically refurbished the whole sign that's on the building. And then I don't know if you would recall that there was a sign out near the sidewalk that said Visitor Center. And I'm going to send you a before and after, because originally we were like, oh, we don't have to change that. But then after we got the new sign, it was like, oh my God, that sign looks like crap. So we did renovate the outdoor sign, and I will send you a before and after. So that was with mileage, because I did not I did not drive there 4 times on my dime. And that was about $1,000. In fact, what I'll also do when I send you these photos, I will send you the breakdown of the expenses that we did to refurbish. Now, keep in mind that Custer County Tourism paid the chamber $300 a month to support the visitor center. So we've definitely gone over that, but we have not spent money in other categories so that we won't be going over our budget at all. We're just shifting the funds a little bit because of this unexpected, we're taking over the Welcome Center. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And just a point of clarification in your bylaws, Article 7, Section B says no lodging tax collected shall be used for any capital expenditure with the exception of tourist information centers. So that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
And we hope that the main thing is all done. You'll notice in the budget that will be presented to you next week or the following week, whenever that is, our monthly expense for the visitor center went from $300 to $500 a month. The thing that we're still working on, and it's certainly a challenge, is our communication expenditure. So I finally got a hold of CenturyLink. They get an F for customer service. We did check in with Dale Mullen because he knows his stuff. And so we went to him for advice about the best way for internet and phone. And we are following his advice that the only option that particular building has, because of where it's located, is strictly CenturyLink DSL. What is amusing to me is when I called up CenturyLink, they wanted to sell me on fiber, but it seems that the fiber is 535 yards away from the building. So for us to get fiber, it was like if we had, I'm sure you'll laugh at this, if we had a 5-year contract with CenturyLink and they got fiber to that building, it would be $500 a month for 5 years. So we said no.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on.
I thought sure Dale Mullen would put a tower on it.
Well, no, actually, so what Dale Mullen is going to do, what he suggested is that we get internet. So that is coming next Friday. And he's going to help us with the training curve of some voice thing. It's not through CenturyLink, it's through something else. And so he's willing to help us. It was either that we get a 24-month contract with CenturyLink with phone, or we just all try to learn this system that he's going to teach us with. And I respect his opinion on that. So we're going to go with that. The other thing I wanted to mention, so, you know, when we transitioned with Chamber and Renee, she was like, oh, do you want this coffee pot? And I'm like, no, I don't want a coffee pot to make bad coffee. And what we've done is we've created little business size coupons. They're a welcome coupon for $1 off at a specialty coffee shop. So instead of us offering them a bad cup of coffee, here's a coupon, go and frequent one of our coffee shops, Peregrine, Tumbleweed, Candy's Coffee, Sugar Lump. I think Stage Stop is doing coffee. So any specialty coffee shop, and I've checked with all of them and they're all on board with that. So that's a way of welcoming visitors. Locals will not get the coupon, just visitors.
And just one final question from me, and then the commissioners may have questions. You are not trying to be the Chamber of Commerce, is that correct? You're just utilizing a building that they were in.
That is correct. But as I said, I think I said this in the interview with KLZR. So we are definitely not the chamber. We are not taking over the chamber. The only thing we did was take over a vital community service of this welcome center. And like I said, I hope you guys will come and visit me, because I think you'll be like, wow, this is very nice. But because we have a new physical space, which we never had before, we can increase our support in promoting local businesses and experiences. And the way we do that is, you know, we have the business card rack, we have the literature rack, we have the TV monitor where nonprofits can create an infomercial, businesses can do an infomercial. So we're doing it that way. And then we also have this visit our shops or shop local area. So we know that successful businesses in town help tourism and help visitors, because you don't want visitors coming to a town that is not thriving. So in that way, we are supporting businesses, but not on the same level that Chamber did. So we are definitely not Chamber.
Right, yeah, I just think we got to keep that distinction in the forefront. These tax dollars that are being expended for the tourism is not designed to support businesses in Custer County. They're designed to support the industry of tourism. I know the two have a tendency to overlap. I just would ask caution that we stay vigilant about how we're expending these dollars.
Yeah, well, so let me ask you, just clarify, and I happen to have this in front of me only because I did the interview for KLZR. In looking at, I think it was our bylaws, that, you know, the primary objective is to increase economic activity in Custer County by stimulating the growth of tourism. Well, we've definitely accomplished that with the amount of press that we are now getting. A secondary objective is to assist local organizations in development of tourism-related activities. And what that means, and what I think I stressed this in the interview, is that experiences here, businesses here, events, that they should look at tourism as the marketing arm to promote whatever they have going on. So for example, yes.
Well, I was just going to say, in my opinion, there's a big difference between, and I'm looking at your language here,
yes,
assist local organizations. Do you view organizations and local businesses for profit separately? To me, an organization is not the grocery store. It's not the village.
No, you're right.
Businesses. Those
Well,
are not
okay. So let me ask you this, because so we have a monthly newsletter that Amy Moulton with Lava Research, she does. Now, you know, this was definitely a tough year because there were no events to really promote. And now we're going into the slower time. So let me ask you this, because it hasn't gone out yet, and this is in discussion with Amy. When visitors come here, we want them to know about the businesses that are available. Since we're now going into a slow time, so October, November, December, we were going to use the newsletter as a way of, not focusing, because it's really just a little blurb, but for example, the next newsletter, the title of it is What's New in the Wet Mountain Valley. And for example, the things that we're looking at is what's new is the new restaurant Bootleggers, that's new. Chud's Pizza, that's new. Wild Iris Gallery, that normally closes by now, has decided to stay open weekends, Friday and Saturday, so that's new. Stage Stop, which usually closes, they've decided to stay open through December, so that's new. The expansion of the SJO Observatory, that's also new. So that's what our October newsletter was going to be, was putting out like what's new. Now that is mentioning businesses. Is that a yay or nay thing to do?
Well, I can't answer that. I just have a question of the fine line between you promoting businesses, which is a Chamber of Commerce responsibility, and you promoting tourism. Again, I recognize there's some overlap. I would just ask your board to be very vigilant about how they're spending these tax dollars, promoting businesses or promoting tourism. That's it. I'm not trying to micromanage. That's just a concern.
Yeah.
How we're expending these tax dollars. I did look at the language on the purpose of collecting a lodging tax. And I think we'll have that conversation during our budget hearing with tourism. May I ask who's presenting your budget to the commissioners?
Jackie Shepherd, the treasurer.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually going to be, I'm going to be spending time with my grandkids that day.
Okay. So just so you know, that's what's on my mind about trying to split the difference between tourism and Chamber of Commerce.
Well, so Tom, what I just described though in the newsletter, now keep in mind that the newsletter, because we have grown so much, it's MailChimp, and when you get over a certain number, it's no longer free. So we were free. We were free for the longest time, but now we have over 3,000 subscribers. So now we pay $50 a month through VistaWorks to keep this newsletter going. Do you feel that, okay, that's $50 a month, and now, you know, I mentioned that we're promoting these businesses, keeping in mind that we promote the businesses so the visitors know what's available. And then, you know, we may be focusing right now with the 2 brand new ones, but then there's a link that takes them to the business directory where all the other businesses are also listed. So I'm not quite sure if that's, I don't know if we're overstepping to let visitors know what's available in town business-wise.
Let me make a comment.
Yes. Yes. Believe me, gentlemen, your voices are all distinctive. I know who you are.
You're hearing us. That's good. I believe, you know, tourism, why do people come to places? And if you've got the best restaurant in the state, they're going to come here and then they'll go spend money on other things. One of the things that was here when I grew up in Canyon City was the Belvedere. And at that time, it was a 4-star restaurant in the early days, and everybody and their uncle went there and from everywhere. So you got to want to know what's there. If there's nothing here to do except walk into the mountains,
Right.
You've got to be able to do
Right.
that. So
Right. Right.
So Tom's got some good points there, but you do have to make sure they know what kind of businesses that are there for them to
Yes.
do their thing.
Yes.
Are you doing
And
it all?
so,
Wait a minute. Are you still
Go ahead.
doing it for Silver Cliff? You know, there's items to promote there. You've been talking a lot about the coffee shops in Westcliff. They got one up there too.
is Tony still a coffee shop?
Yeah, they got a good one. And so anyway,
Okay.
You know, all I'm saying is your tourism for the county and the town, you know,
Yes.
the big picture
Yes.
is what
Yes.
makes it worthwhile. And if the tax dollars you're collecting are, to me, I think the citizens of the county would think are well spent if they're making dollars here for the businesses as well, or the people that live here.
anyway, keep up
Yes.
the good.
Yes. So
Walk that fine line and we'll be talking to you in the budget hearings.
yeah, so a thing that I'm going to be bringing up at our board meeting, which is before the budget hearing. So now that we have this welcome center and we staffed it and we had people come in, like for the Thursday, we had 35 people come in. For Friday, we had 10. For Saturday, we had 24. Keep in mind, yes, yes.
So that welcome center is a welcome center for the county and the towns. Is it clear? I haven't been down there since you've redone the literature and stuff, but it sounds like if it is a welcome center for the county, the big picture.
Yes, and that's why it's called the Custer County Welcome Center. You know, our brand logo is Wet Mountain Valley, and of course you're in the Wet Mountain Valley when you're at the Custer County Welcome Center. But the thing that we have discovered
is
just
the Wet Mountain Valley. Don't forget San Isabel.
Oh no! Oh, absolutely no.
I just want to make sure.
No, San Isabel has a great commercial. So when you come and see me on Friday, Bill, I'm going to show you the San Isabel commercial because it's really well done with the woman who I think teaches fly fishing up there. And Bob Swanson, you know, he's very professional in his skill. So they're all very good videos. But what we discovered is that we being Custer County, Wet Mountain Valley, us, are sorely lacking in literature to hand out to people. As far as Custer County, Wet Mountain Valley, we have nothing. We have no literature. So it's on the table and it's been talked about that is something. So for example, we are not spending money on social media for the rest of this year because we're going to take those funds and put it towards designing literature. We're sorely lacking in literature. And I'm possibly making a suggestion to the board. I don't know how it will go over. It's only my opinion. But knowing how poorly we are set right now with literature, we really need to invest in it. And so I'm making a proposal that we really reduce social media spending in 2021 so we can put it towards creating really good literature, not half-assed literature, but really quality literature that reflects who we are. And it's not going to change the budget at all because we have a line item, internet marketing, that we based it 20% of lodging tax. That's how we figured out what our social media spending is. But I would reduce that on social media and put it towards print. Like just this past weekend, at least 10 people asked for information on hiking. And we have nothing to give them except say, well, we have hiking descriptions in this notebook. You can take a photo of it with your phone. So that doesn't do.
Yeah.
So that's the thing we're looking at. And so it doesn't change the budget that we presented. We would just shift the funds.
All right.
Great.
Well, thank you. Really appreciate your update. Very informative. Just want you to understand that we feel partially responsible because these are tax dollars. So
yes.
Thank you for the input. And other questions for Ms. Deb?
I have a question for Mr. Bill.
Go ahead.
I have a question. So I know that Bill and Tom, you were at the Planning Commission meeting on Monday afternoon with regard to short-term rentals. And you heard me speak, or maybe you didn't hear me speak, but I'm doing my research with that. And the one thing that really surprised me, so I'm in touch with Vic Barnes, and the thing that surprised me, and I did come into this meeting late, so I don't know if it was discussed, But I was a little, shocked might be too big of a word, that the Planning Commission has absolutely no idea about the Strategic Prosperity Plan.
You addressed your question to Mr. Candace, so go ahead.
Well, I don't believe, maybe that's a wrong impression. I know that several of the people on the board participated, but you know, their function, Debbie, is to work the land use issues, and they have to be in sync with what our strategic vision is, which I think it is.
So Bill, I'm in touch with Vic. I don't really know any of the other people on the commission. I just have a good back and forth going with Vic, and I took a screenshot of the guiding values and the priorities just to send to Vic. He himself has never seen it. Now, I know that Dale Mullen is on the commission and that he was also part of the strategic plan, but I just found it interesting that this document has been out there for a year, yet a very important commission, the Planning Commission, doesn't know the guiding values and priorities of the county. So that just surprised me. That's all.
Now, if I could, I'll make a comment. I saw your email between Vic and yourself. My perception is this, that the Planning Commission will probably, most likely, not use that document as a driving document to drive their decisions and their policies. Certainly, they can refer to that to find out what other people think. But as Commissioner Kennedy indicated, the Planning Commission is charged with dealing with land use. They don't get into economic development. So I think that's where they're coming from.
Okay. Got it.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. I really appreciate it.
I'll hope to see you. I'll hope to see you guys. Just stop by on Friday. All I need is 5 minutes of your time.
I will be there. Thank you.
Okay.
May I
Have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks.
Before Deb leaves,
Doesn't matter.
I just wanted to make a comment that might be of help.
Well, hold on a minute. First of all, this is not, we'll get to public comment, but who is this?
This is Tracy Ballard. I just wanted to make a comment that might be of help when referring to hiking trails and so forth that we did at the chamber.
Hold on just a second. Anything else, gentlemen, on the tourism board?
No, it sounds like they really have their act together, and I appreciate what they're doing.
Okay. Any additional items to come before the board?
I have nothing.
Only thing I had, it's not a BOCC item, but I've had another email today wanting to know when the next Board of Health meeting is. Or actually, it was a phone call, sorry. What's your plan, Mr. Chairman, on Board of Health?
That's what I was going to bring up here in this comment period as well.
Okay.
If you want to do Tracy first, get her conjunction with what Deb's online for, or we can do.
That's fine. Go ahead, Tracy.
Okay, thank you. Deb, you were mentioning that you really didn't have any literature or anything to give someone that had inquiries about hiking trails and so forth. What we did when I was part of the chamber, also, we would refer people over to Tom Dimler at All the Range. And that also helped increase his business and so forth because people would shop and things of that nature. But we also had a long map that we gave them, and we would show them different trails. And my husband was really familiar with those trails as well. So I hope that will help somewhat in the meantime between now and when you get your new literature taken care of.
Yeah, and we know to send people to Tom. Tom has a nice display in the shop local, and we certainly know that Tom is a very valuable resource. There was a hiking map previously printed years ago. it seems to not be available anymore. So we really just have to look at reprinting the literature. So thank you for your input.
Oh,
Okay,
absolutely.
thank you. All right. Anything else, gentlemen? Items of business?
No.
Okay, public comment?
I have one.
Go ahead, Kelly.
So, something that Vernon and I talked about last week with putting the audio that I record onto the website. They're not listening to this audio anymore because they've got the live stream. They're going to that. So do you want us to continue to double duty and put this audio on, or should I just keep this audio? Because I put it on a disc and I keep it in our vault. And we'll just keep putting, or we'll just put the live stream on, or how do you want to handle that?
Well, the official recording is not the live stream, right? So if somebody had a point that they wanted to clarify, we would not go to the live stream audio to verify that. Say somebody was building some kind of a case or whatever, I think we'd go back to this recording, don't you? That's the official recording of the meeting. So what the public chooses to do is up to them, but my opinion as a commissioner is this should continue to be our official recording.
Right, and it would be,
Okay.
because
You're just saying, should I
keep
post it or
that,
not?
yeah,
Oh,
should I
okay.
post it? Because nobody listens to that
Right.
one anymore.
Is it a big deal? Is it a time consumer to post that, or?
No,
Let me
I
ask
mean-
a quick one.
It takes
How long?
about 45 minutes to post an audio
That one.
recording from.
What's the better quality sound? And how long do you keep the live stream or the Zoom stuff?
They're about comparable and they stay up forever until we take them out.
Okay.
and if
So they got a
anybody,
choice.
yeah, and if anybody requested a copy or whatever
Grab
of the
that.
audio, they can get it.
Right.
free.
Well, I've
It
gone
says it on
back.
the agenda.
I've gone back and pulled the audio recording of these meetings several times. I have not done that through live stream. At least I don't think I was doing it through live stream. I went to the county website and pulled up the commissioner's recording of a meeting, which I'm assuming is that.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Again, as commissioner, I think that's what we should be doing.
okay, if that's what you.
Even with respect to, I had no idea it would take you 45 minutes to do that. Or who?
I
actually
send it
posts
to Vernon and then he does.
It takes
whatever.
that long down.
But you just start it and then monitor it while you do something else. It's not like you sit there for 45 minutes.
So you don't just paste a WAV file in there. It's a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, I have to actually convert the file into a format that YouTube will accept. And I go through the conversion process, rename it and put a graphic on it and then post it up to YouTube.
YouTube being live streamed, not our official recording, or both?
I take the official recording, I convert it into a into a YouTube
Okay.
acceptable format. And then I post it to live stream. And when you go to the county Facebook or
Website.
it's the one with the blue seal and it gives the name and date of the meeting.
And so we're actually accessing a YouTube recording.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I didn't know
You're
that.
accessing a YouTube recording when you go to the webpage.
Yeah, I just feel like our official, to me, this is the official recording. That is not. That's the way I look at it. If I'm totally out off the rails, educate me, but that's the way I look at it.
And I can absolutely continue doing that. That's
Easy to do. I don't know.
And once you get that converted, then it can, do you have to do the same thing with the live stream?
the live stream is done instantaneously.
Okay, got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I just have a little more confidence in our official recording than I do of live stream recording for some reason. Maybe that's just me.
I understand that, yes. I mean, Zoom can go down. It has many times.
Yeah, we've had issues with that and
So
Okay.
yes, but not very often.
yeah,
Yeah, this is less. than-
yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, very good.
You know, the old system that we used with the Mevo camera and stuff, we've replaced that. because the Zoom is actually more efficient
Okay,
and it works better.
okay. All right, welcome, Mr. Smith. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Good, good. I would revert if there's no objection. Do you have anything you want to share as under attorney items? I know you just walked in, so I'm not, you can absolutely say, no, not right now, and we'll move on. I just don't want to exclude you.
It may be later on before we think about what I.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
We're about done.
Okay,
I want to discuss the schedule on the Board of Health meetings, so.
All right.
okay, let's finish and see if there's any other public comment. Thanks, Matt. Other public comment come before the commissioners? Okay, hearing none. Commissioner Kanda?
Yeah, two things are on the docket here. We got to have an executive session for a personnel issue, and I consulted with Clint. And we've got that, and I think it would be possible to do that.
And when you say we, you're talking
The
about,
commissioners all have been involved.
okay, you're talking about BOCC?
Yeah.
Okay,
And so the BOCC, we have an executive session tomorrow, I believe. And then from a Board of Health point of view, it's feasible to have the one for the personnel issue tomorrow as well at 2:00 is what we've been discussing. And executive session only, it's not for any other purpose for tomorrow. And then I'll get that posted here in a little bit.
Just, Mr. Cantor, just to make sure I understood, because I was a little confused. You're going to have a Board of Health executive session at 2:00 tomorrow?
Right.
Got it. Thank you.
well, that would be a Board of Health meeting. We have to
a meeting to go into an executive
Right.
session, and that's all that's going to be.
Got it. That'll be the only thing on the agenda. That's at 2:00.
And I'll put that on the agenda. It's intended for that only. And then we need to, and as I mentioned, I put out a request the other day to try to get your schedule so we can figure out where we're going to be so we can sync up. What I'd like to do is honor the public's request to get into a bigger room, and I'd like to do that at Lang Hall at some point. I had put Dr. Brown go over and we looked at it and walked it. And it's very feasible to do that. The ventilation's good and fans will be on there and lots of other things we can discuss to make that very safe to do. That's an option. So regardless of where we have it, we need to pick a time and a date here. Go ahead.
I think in reference to your first comment as to where I sent you an email telling you that
Some concerns.
until such time as this virus is under control, I will attend no public meetings.
I didn't hear that. I thought you said that.
Let me finish, please. That includes BOCC, Board of Health, and any other meetings. I won't go to any rallies. I won't go to anything because I am not flippant about the COVID virus and I take it very seriously.
Good.
If you choose to do it at Lang Hall, that is certainly something that can be discussed. I will have to join by Zoom or by phone.
That's okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's something we have to consider. And these would, of course, be in compliance with the existing health recommendations, orders, et cetera. So there would be hand washing, all the things that are required to be compliant and safe with the science that's available. So not proposing to have anything that would be freewheeling. So rest easy. But you don't have to come. That's okay. And that's an option that everybody has.
Well, I would be very remiss if you had a Board of Health meeting and I told you up front that I will not attend for health and safety reasons and you chose to have it anyway.
Well,
I would
said
have
you
a
would.
real issue with that.
Okay.
Okay. And as far as you'll meet all the requirements, you haven't met any of them so far. I don't know what's going to make it need now. You're not wearing a mask. You're supposed, I'm just stating that. Let me finish. I have the floor and I demand to continue.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So there is no expectation that in a public meeting that the protocols put out by the state would be followed. None whatsoever. That's my personal opinion. I could be totally wrong. And if I am, I am. But I will not take that chance.
Okay, got it.
Okay. Now
I appreciate your opinion.
cede to you. Thank you for that.
So regardless, we got to pick a time and some dates to do that.
Okay.
And so I asked you guys for a couple windows where you're going to be free, and we may do it, and it's not a bad idea to do it. I would, like I said, I really would like maximum participation, having it, even if we had it at night and we did it here in this room. That gets more people involved because of the work schedules. And that's one of the requests that I'm listening to. And I listen to the county citizens as well. And so that's what I'd like to discuss. If this technology here is working, and I'd like to get some feedback. I see.
Before we ask the public how well it's working.
No, I'm not. Okay, go ahead.
If I may respond, please, sir. I absolutely concur. I want the public involved. If you like to do it in this room with the same protocols we're having today, I'm 100% in favor of that. I'm just concerned about meeting in a room with a bunch of warm bodies. That's my concern.
Okay, got it.
So it's.
And you don't care about it. And you're
exclude any individuals.
Yeah. Can we have a discussion so that I'm not interrupting?
Sure.
I don't want to
Please
interrupt.
do.
It's just talk back and
Go
forth.
ahead.
I think it's a good thing to do it after 6:30 or so.
I'm fine.
Because I've been with some of the requests I've gotten from many people.
I'm fine.
That gets people in. Tom, what's your feeling on that?
Well, about the 6:30 thing or specifically?
6:30.
I get paid to be a Board of Health member. It doesn't matter really when. As long as two things happen. Number one, that we, the three of us, decide when we're going to have the meeting.
That's what we're
The
talking
public doesn't get any input on that. In my opinion, the public has no input on whether or not we're going to open our meetings up to the public. That is none of their business. That is our business. If the three of us decide to open a meeting up to the public, then that's so be it. But the public doesn't get to decide if we're going to have a public meeting or not. That's our job.
I
to
didn't say
decide
they
that.
did. I said they would like to see that.
I
In
understood
fact,
that.
that's what we have discussions about and we agree on.
You've asked what I thought. I'm telling you what I think, that if we decide as a Board of Health or Board of County Commissioners to allow the public in, that's our decision. We can do that. Nobody else gets to decide that, in my opinion. That's all I'm saying.
So far, we've allowed the county people to be in all our meetings, Tom. We
Not
have
true,
public,
Bill.
yes, it is. We have public comments. When I say in, it means 6:30 at night, dialing in. That's fine. That was the question that we were just talking about. And the county people have the right, in my view, to hear discussions, the items we vote on that impact them.
Well, of course they do.
Sure they
Absolutely.
do. So that's all I'm arguing right
I
now.
thought you meant to have the public in the room where we were
Okay,
having
and
a
now,
meeting.
here's
If you
the-
want public access, absolutely.
Okay.
That's a given.
Now, as far as being in the room, we can discuss that separately now. The fact is, part of the problem has been the technology. And I know you all have gotten it too. I know the squelch was on. A lot of people were whining and couldn't hear, couldn't see because of interference on even static. And Vern, you got a lot of comments back. We tried to get, you lost a lot of people. I don't think we've lost anybody today, but there's not very many on. And I'm concerned because there's enough people that care about lives and livelihood of this county that they want to be able to hear and participate. So if they can do it here, I don't have a problem at all about that. That's the request. And I know if you do it right and we police it, you can be just as safe with people in the room. And I respect what you're saying, Jay. I really do. So, and in fact, if it works that good, I'm not averse to having you participate on Zoom. And that's what they're doing in Congress right now. You know, we've done that before. We had you dialing in from Texas.
That's correct. The last meeting, my choice, I would strongly oppose a Board of Health meeting that I could attend. And I do not because it's people are in the meeting with us.
Got it. So, all right, so let's talk about.
I'm happy to do it at 6:30.
Okay.
In the format we're in.
And I think that would probably be the right thing to do. Is there any issue, Counselor, from a time?
Well, no, you can schedule a meeting anytime as long as you give the proper public notice.
And adhering to all the criteria.
Well, and I guess I'm not clear. Are we talking about
I'm,
a Board of Health meeting here where the public is participating by Zoom or?
that's the first issue, yes.
All right,
It's really virtual versus live is what we were talking about.
Right.
right. Yeah, that's fine.
So do we have a date, a proposed date for the next Board of Health meeting other than,
Nope, I had a request to get you guys to send me some options so I could to see where you overlap with each other and me before I propose the window of dates. So give me some.
well, let's just pick a date today then.
Yeah, I would say so. Bill, since, we're talking about 6:30, I am open anytime you would like to do it. Even during budget hearings, I'll come back and do that if that makes sense.
I would not be available on Thursday, the 15th.
I think we ought to not do it during budget season.
That's fine.
So
Why
that would mean we're
don't you
looking at.
propose a date? Why don't you throw a date out and let's say good, no, yes, maybe.
So we're looking at the week of the 19th right now. It's the first time. So we've got that week looks pretty open, and I think a good time might be the 22nd. It's completely open and a lot of issues. So, and speaking in the evening, we're good. So what's best for you guys?
If I may, and I may have spoken too soon, I thought you were talking about this week, either Thursday or Friday, going to the week of the 19th. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday really works best for me, if that's acceptable with
That would
both
be
of you.
good here for me too, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Tom?
Yeah, I don't, my calendar is pretty open on Tuesday. We have a committee meeting on Monday, but you're talking about in the evening. That's what we're looking
Right, we're
for.
looking at the evening on the 20th, 21st.
And we would meet here.
Which we're going to go virtual.
Just like we do.
So then we need to have a conversation with Mr. Big Boy because he has done work at 4 o'clock.
Not that day.
The issue that we run into would also be one of logistics.
Right.
Because if you're going to be having an executive session associated with that,
No.
we'll have to go out of the regular
It's
meeting
not.
and then come back in. We're not going to have that? Okay.
No, it's just a regular
All right.
meeting.
I'm just trying to get all the contingencies.
Right, but we're talking about having it at 6:30 at night.
But
So
logistics wise, on those 3 days, is there any issues?
Which day was that again?
20, 21, 22.
No, 19, 20, or 21.
1920.
he's not
I thought you said
available on
20,
Thursday or
21.
Friday.
In the
Oh, you're not, who's not?
I'm much better Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
Okay, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday.
If you don't mind.
I can be here, or I can teach, if we have a Board of Health secretary, I can teach him how to do it too. So I will be
And now
here.
we
That's
do
what
not have
everyone
one.
needs to do.
Right.
I appreciate that attitude.
I'll just come in late the next morning.
Oh,
Clint, you good?
Yeah, are we talking the 20th now? Is that
which day?
20th would be the best for me.
All right. So, Board of Health, 6:30.
That work for you, Clint?
Yeah,
Vern?
I'll be here.
That works.
So
So I'll pull together a straw man format or an agenda, send it to you guys, and then we will post it.
And that's going to be here.
Mhm.
So can we talk about the agenda a little bit then? We had said at our last Board of Health meeting that at the next Board of Health meeting, which would have been today, right? One of the agenda items was going to be dealing with the advisory committee. Is that going to be postponed then until the 20th?
Yes.
So you'll have that on the
Be
agenda.
on the agenda, as well as will be a reconsideration of that committee. And the reason for that is in light of the statute that has the Board of Health Director hiring the advisors and by, so I want to talk about what the differences are and what the purpose.
I don't want to bring the issues up here, but there are many issues that go along with that.
Right.
So if you wouldn't mind
That's why we have to-
putting consideration on, I would appreciate it. Sure. Thank you. And I appreciate you having it in this room without the public. I appreciate that. I want you to know that. And I appreciate you doing it without the public. So thank you.
But we're, yeah, in person. We're
Live.
gonna have the
Right.
public.
The public.
You're talking about live.
You're talking live.
I'm talking live bodies in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you accommodating me.
Let's see, there was another item that I thought we should have on that
We're gonna
agenda.
do the CARES stuff with Vernon as well. It's one of the items. I
Yeah,
put
good
on.
plan.
And then we need to do we're already gonna do the OEM or the other piece on our commissioner meeting tomorrow.
Right.
Which other piece?
The
Sorry.
CARES, Vernon's CARES.
Well, yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit. So I'm a little fuzzy about this. I'm assuming you asked him to split that out because you believe that the Board of Health is going to buy some stuff.
I split it out because the request came from the Board of Health and OEM and was how Vernon had presented it. And we discussed that, we mentioned that at the meeting, and we said, I believe,
I have an issue with that, though. It's the county commissioners that approve all of the CARES Act requests for the county.
Sure.
So if the request is for the Board of Health to,
I don't care how we handle it.
I may
I'm
be
just saying
nitpicking.
they're two separate.
The Board of Health
items.
say, yes, we agree to send it then to the Board of County Commissioners to
Right.
approve. I mean, if that's the
Yeah,
way, then I'm fine.
I mean, we got,
That's
somebody
why-
has to validate a need somewhere and
I'm
and
with
it's
you,
the
and I
Board of
may
Health that
be
knows what the
bringing that
requirement
up.
is theoretically.
Right. I'm with you.
Well, and I assumed they had communicated that to Vern. That's why Vernon was submitting that to the commissioners. I think those expense requests need to go to BOCC, not Board of Health. That's what I'm a little fuzzy about.
Well, I think what Bill's trying to say, and I can buy what he's saying, is it's really a Board of Health. Do we feel that this is legitimate? And if the Board of Health says yes, then it's come right back to our
The
desk
county
again
apply, that's
for
right.
us to say, yes, we're going to
See,
bring
and
it to the CARES Act.
So how do we get it?
I
presented?
assumed something a little differently. I assumed because Vernon brought us that stuff, he brought it with the blessing of OEM and public health and IT
And other departments too, that they all.
and other departments.
Yeah, no.
That'd be like saying, okay, planning and zoning needs to come in. Well, I didn't think so because Vernon, this was my understanding,
That's a county deal.
that he already met with those people and you're representing them. That's why all their logos were on there, correct, or their signatures. So that's why I'm just a little fuzzy about why we'd need to split up any of these requests.
Maybe we don't.
Why they wouldn't
Maybe we
just
don't.
go to
I'm trying to
BOCC.
keep it because the
I understand.
public health
Yeah.
agency is a separate entity,
Go ahead.
like the fire department is.
No, absolutely
Not like
untrue
that.
statement.
No, I'm not like that.
Okay, go ahead, Clint.
Well, my
Sheriff's
suggestion is the public health agency is the one making the expenditures.
Right.
I don't see that they need to go to the Board of Health for you to sign off on it first. I think
Right.
it should just go directly to the BOCC.
Commissioners, because they're the ones going to write the check, right?
Right.
So that's where I was a little,
Well, I can go either way.
And that was
So
all they were suggesting. So if we're clear, I don't care personally.
if it was a different group, I would say, let's make that extra step. But since,
the county umbrella.
right,
Right.
I'm fine with it coming right to the
And
BOCC.
so sheriff's department would be similar.
Yeah, if they didn't go through Vern, if the sheriff's
Right.
department asked Vern to present this
They
stuff,
could do that. See, that,
then they wouldn't need to be
that,
here.
that was the,
Correct.
But if they
Example I was
didn't,
trying
then
to
they'd have to come, I
Sure.
think they'd need to come to the commissioners and,
the sheriff's department did vet it first to make sure it was a legitimate
Right.
requirement. I just wanted to make sure the public health agency, and which they are.
I
Dr.
appreciate your
Brown should be
comment.
doing that.
To make sure that we follow protocol.
So it should be
I
a
have no
separate
issue with what you bring up.
proposal, and you guys all agreed how it's split out. So that's okay.
yeah, and we've got it on the agenda, correct?
For the
For the
21st.
21st. So in my mind, we're covered.
Okay, we're covered.
I just wanted to bring that up. So Anything else on the agenda? You said the CARES. No, that's gone away now, right? The CARES, so that's,
It's just the
so the advisory committee.
advisory committee have a consideration and the reconsideration of it.
Well, we haven't considered it. Well, I guess we did. We had a motion,
That's
didn't
why I
we?
want to
Yeah.
reconsider it, given the information or the latest understanding of what the statute says, and I want to discuss it.
Would you send that statute to me, please? Thank you.
Okay, anything else, gentlemen, under
I have nothing.
public comment?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
as
sir.
far as the executive session tomorrow for the Board of Health, that's a personnel issue. The employee needs to be advised ahead of time. And because the employee has a couple of choices. Are you gonna talk about that?
But you're going to go ahead and do it.
Well, I'm just
I will
saying
advise.
that the employee needs to be notified because the employee has a couple of options. One is, does the employee want to be represented by counsel? And secondly, it's the choice of the employee whether to do this in executive session or to request a public hearing. So we need to let the employee know.
So what your point was, is it's sort of a preliminary assessment initially, because you can't make any decisions within the executive session anyway, but we gotta understand what the issue is.
Well, if the employee comes in and says, I would like to be represented by counsel, or I want time to consult with an attorney or something, I think we owe that to the employee to do that.
That's why I agree.
And I can't say too much more here, but it's not something as the county attorney where I could represent that employee or advise that
Right,
employee.
because you're representing the commissioner.
Let me follow this a little further then, because this is another thing that I think we're kind of in muddy water about when it comes to executive sessions. So if I say to the commissioners, I want to have an executive session, I'll use Vernon because he's here and I don't think he would mind. And I said, I want to have an executive session to discuss a personnel issue. And they have a right to say, what is that? I have a personnel issue that I want to discuss with Vernon Roth. Well, what is that? Well, I know he's been smoking marijuana in his office. Now that goes way outside of the executive session privileges if I state those specific reasons. Am I correct?
I don't think it's necessary to go into the detail about the reasons, just to the employee.
Right.
The employee has to know, though.
Well,
in order
yeah,
to be
the
prepared
employee
to
needs to be
understand
notified at least
what
24
exactly
hours.
the
in
issue
advance.
Well, so here's the problem. Council says the employee needs to be notified 24 hours in advance. Absolutely. Commissioner Canada maintains the employee needs to know what the executive session pertaining to his personnel or her personnel issue is. The minute you get into those weeds, you're no longer in executive session.
No,
The issue is personnel, correct?
it's a personnel issue. Beyond that, no, the employee doesn't have a right to be notified of the details.
Right.
If, once you get into it, I mean, if you choose to go ahead,
Sure.
then the employee can say, wait a minute, I feel like I should talk to. a lawyer."
Absolutely.
Right, that was the point that I had discussed, and that's what convinced
Okay,
me.
I'm just saying, yeah, you don't have to say, well,
But he had-
this and this and this,
Right.
and he's got to make that, he or she's got to make that decision up front.
Right.
But I just want you to be prepared that if the employee does assert those
Absolutely.
rights, or to say, I want to, decide whether I want this in a public
Right.
session or a private session.
Right.
Then it would be
That's
your
discussed at
obligation
that
to
point.
reschedule that
Right.
executive session
Right.
or a public session.
And council, that needs, this is really a question, but it's kind of a question as a statement, that options that the employee has needs to be made known to him once the executive session starts, and he'll have the right to stop it at any time he wants, if he wants to change the format or have legal representation. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right,
Okay.
right, that's correct.
Okay, and I'm fine with that process.
Yeah, I was hung up on having to publicize the
Why?
reason for the personnel issue.
Uh,
And that goes way outside
And
of
I
executive
never,
session.
ever even considered that, because when I had talked to you first, it was, the discussion was in a confidential only format, that it wasn't for the public, it was between us. The discussion was between us.
I mean, I would hope that between the three of you would kind of share more information.
Right.
But that's,
Because
that's up to you. The law doesn't require that you provide details to one another.
And that's not releasable to the public, period. A discussion that we have that's confidential.
Well, I would hope that any communication you have about something like that would be between you.
Right.
I need to know if it's for legal advice so I can be prepared. If it's personnel, I only need to know that the person is notified properly.
And I personally in the same way.
So as chairman, then I would request that you notify.
I had already, was already going to do that. And I told Clint I would.
Okay.
And then we got into this the other day in that executive session, and I have angst about that. And that is whether or not to make a name public. So if I, again, going back to Vern, I want to have an executive session about a personnel issue with a county employee. The way I understand the executive session laws, that's all that has to be said. We don't have to name that employee in that motion. If for some reason this anonymity were critical, then we could contact that individual non-publicly, privately, as commissioners, and inform them that they've been requested to appear in an executive session. Is that reasonable or not?
No, that's correct. That's correct. You do not disclose the identity of the employee, regardless of what department it is, what elected official, whatever. All you do is say it'll be to discuss a personnel issue. Right. And frankly, when you start naming the department, you got a department with very few employees, you know, as opposed to one that has the larger number of employees, like Road and Bridge, for instance, or something. You know, then people start guessing over it. So you better just say executive session, period.
With an employee, if that motion passes, then we contact that employee and inform them that they've been requested to appear in an executive session.
He just said not even to say personnel issue.
Or you have to.
No, it should say executive session for personnel issue on the agenda.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right. You have to post the reason. There's 4 reasons. You have to post one of those 4 or multiples, right? You can have more than one in an executive session. A lot of people don't think that's true, but it is. We can handle more than one issue in an executive session. We just have to make sure we clearly define, we're going to deal with this, now we're going to deal with that.
Correct.
So, yeah, it'd be like saying, I want to have an executive session for legal advice. Well, what do you want legal advice about? Well, the attorney needs to know that, but the public doesn't need to know that.
Exactly.
But we can.
You can, yes.
We can and should.
Depends.
Oh, it doesn't.
Depends on, well, sure it does. Depends on the issue.
No, it doesn't, Tom. I'm a commissioner, you're a commissioner, and he's a commissioner, and we are in the executive session. And if I'm going in there, I want to know what it's about. So in case I have to do some research for whatever reason, it's my prerogative. It's period. You know, it would be like if the difference, you know, if it were one boss, if it was one person, it's easy. You're going to come in, you're going to have a discussion with an employer, you're going to have a discussion on law or whatever. But there's 3 of us. And we all have the same right to know what's going on as the other guy does, period. Otherwise, we can't. That's the whole point of having a board together. So that we can have an honest discussion that's coherent and intelligent and yields good results. I don't want to go in there and then have to catch up with whoever's called the executive session. I wouldn't expect that if I called an executive session. I'd tell each of you exactly why I want it. And I always have. There's no secrets between us. There shouldn't be. And so that's the point. And so right now, if you know, like I said, I'm happy right now where this is headed right now. We're good. But in the future, that's just seems to be protocol to me. And that doesn't mean you broadcast it to the public. It means that we can have a phone call or a confidential letter that says, here's why I want an executive session.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with all of it. I think if any commissioner says, I'm requesting executive session for a personnel issue, that's the end of it. That's what executive session's about. Then you flesh it out in the executive session.
Okay,
That's how I perceive it, but
I'll drop it at that.
I would be the same boat. If Jay said, I want to have an executive session, what about? Personnel issue with who? I'm not going to tell you yet. All right, I would struggle with that. I see where you're coming from. But there might be a reason he's not going to tell me that.
There shouldn't be, because he's gonna have a private discussion with you anyway in that meeting. There shouldn't be any reason to not tell it.
You just don't want to be blindsided.
That's exactly right. We all deserve that, so that we can discuss it. I don't want to walk in and be surprised I see somebody that I didn't expect to see, and he's done X, Y, and Z, or she has. I want to know what the real issue is, so I can sit there and listen and ask questions that are pertinent to it without trying to get caught up to understand why one of us is just grilling them like it's a court. It's a discussion to get facts and data on the table so that we can make an action after the executive session. It doesn't occur in the executive session. So anyway.
Yeah, well, it's good discussion. I appreciate and respect your opinions, and we at least have to be able to share that, or we're really in trouble. So, and so tomorrow we do have an executive session scheduled connected with the Board of County Commissioners. And that is for legal advice. I did send an email. I think I included everybody that would be pertinent to that. Are you going to be here tomorrow? I can't remember. Okay. So we ought to probably talk about that a little bit. She has the authority to appoint a deputy clerk, and that I assume that authority includes that deputy clerk being able to, in this case, it wouldn't be recording legal advice, but
Correct.
my question is, can a deputy clerk record an executive session? Can they be in there if it's appropriate? Okay.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, Kelly and I've had this conversation. I wanted to run it by you. I don't believe we need a clerk during the executive session because it's for legal advice and those are not recorded.
Correct. In my reading of the law is that there should still be minutes taken, even though those minutes are not published or anything else for an executive session. Now, we have not done that.
Correct.
But I think from what I've been reading in the last few days, that it's contemplated, and I can advise you further because I didn't finish that, but that minutes still need to be taken, but they are not disclosed. It's not any kind of a record. And
well, if somebody's taking minutes, it's recorded.
well, it is, and that's why I'm not sure about that. I was reading a lawyer's thing on the internet about executive session, and I saw that, and I wondered about that as well.
With the Clerks Association, they tell us to not take minutes during executive session. All we do is record it if it's not illegal.
Right.
Yeah, that's
for legal advice.
Okay, see, that's what happens when I read what a lawyer says.
Yeah, I've tried to research down in that deep in the weeds in the statute, and it's not very clear. Yes, sir.
Not to interrupt, it is now 3 minutes to 12. What time were those executive sessions tomorrow? Because I don't think they've been posted.
1 and 2.
Well, we don't have to post them. They're already on the agenda as a standing item.
Oh, okay, okay. All right.
The only thing that needs to be posted before, what did we say, 2 o'clock tomorrow? Is then we've selected the time for the Board of Health.
The Board of Health executive session needs to be posted.
Yeah, so we don't have to post the executive session as a separate posting because it's on the agenda as a standing item.
What about the Board of Health meeting?
We're going to schedule, I'm going to get with you and we're going to put it on there.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to.
No, thank you.
Get that all straight in my head.
Yeah.
So I don't leave and I can make
Yeah,
sense.
I'm glad you're not leaving.
And that Board of Health's going to be here
Yes.
at 2 o'clock.
And
On the 7th.
Kara is gonna just take, she's gonna run the recording for the meeting tomorrow, and then she'll have you guys sign
executive
that
session
paper
form.
for the legal advisor.
And then we will not record the executive session. Then can she restart the recording to finish the meeting,
Yes.
the BOCC
Are you
meeting?
gonna be here tomorrow, Vernon? Or did you say you're not gonna be here
I will be here.
tomorrow? Okay, so if she has a problem,
God
she
willing,
can,
the police don't rise.
Yeah, okay.
but I'm gonna set it all up for her, so she should be
Okay.
good.
I want to ask out in the hallway about another public comment thing. We need to clarify something, and let me check real quick. Mr. Uthier is out there, gentlemen. You had correspondence from him. Give me just a second here. Did we get this on did we get this on the agenda for tomorrow?
Like a Lone Ranger. out
What?
there.
No,
Okay.
I know nothing.
All right, so that's what I'm asking. So give me just a second here, Mr. Jeff. How are you, sir?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good. So we'll handle this for right now in public comment.
Yeah, that's.
I think
just kinda
that's
wanna know the
reasonable.
process
Yeah,
of what
so
I need to do.
Jeff contacted, I think, us, or at least
I emailed
myself,
all
I
three.
forgot to read, okay, about rescinding and council, I want to defer to you here in a second, about rescinding a resolution. I'm sure it was a resolution, not an ordinance,
Correct.
that we signed closing County Road 386 from 165 east. And so the Forest Service has requested that we consider rescinding that so they can open that road up. There I painted the broad strokes, so I'll,
So we did rescind the piece from 165 to the forest boundary,
okay,
and that road's, what's on private is county and what's on forest is
okay,
forest.
so you've already done the forest part.
Yeah.
You're asking us to do
And
the private,
You did the private part on the west side,
okay?
just there's only less than a quarter
I'm
mile.
gonna say
of that. And
several
we're
hundred
asking
yards.
that you do the east side from
I can just do a resolution opening it again. So
Rather than rescinding the one, 'cause
Yeah.
I wondered when I got his language about the technicality, do
Yeah,
we
that's-
rescind it, do we write a
we
new
could
resolution?
rescind it, it's just easy just to reopen
Okay.
it by resolution.
Are you capable of doing that?
I can have,
We'd like to have this fairly quickly, correct?
I mean, yeah, as quick as you can, I didn't.
We could.
So I'm not.
but I'm not sure we can get that on the agenda now.
For tomorrow. Could we handle it under commissioner items?
Now you're taking a vote on a resolution.
Yeah, well, that's true on a resolution. It wouldn't be by a consent thing, yeah, because 21st,
Oh, no, whenever, yeah, because I just sprung it on you. so.
yeah, if we could, yeah, way to go.
Yeah, I know.
Gentlemen, you in agreement with adding this as an agenda item on the 21st? So
Absolutely.
consideration of a resolution opening County Road 367 west,
386
386.
east of
I've got the
Highway
one I
1.
can work
Close.
on.
There's two pieces of
Right.
road there, so it'd be
But
just from 387 to the forest boundary.
Okay. Because our property goes up to the road, correct? It starts at 165 or no?
Yeah, there's a piece from 165
Down to
that's
the forest.
just a few hundred yards that's private.
So
And so that's
resolution to
your-
open 387 from 165 to the forest boundary.
386.
God dang it.
380. So from 165
I'll
to the
open
forest boundary
387 too.
is open already.
Say again, I'm sorry.
From Highway 165 to the forest boundary is open already. That resolution was already,
Oh, we never closed that.
you did, but we opened it again.
Okay,
You opened it.
okay.
This is the bottom. piece.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the top piece. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, yeah, this is the bottom piece.
So the bottom piece being, describe that again, from the
From
forest
forest
service
boundary.
boundary.
Through the Billington, Donley's, down to the 387, the road from Beulah to the
No
highway.
wonder I'm confused. I was thinking 165 to the four. I was thinking the top half.
That had been done.
Okay, I thought we were talking about the eastern part of the top half. That is not correct.
No, it's the bottom.
Billington Ranch up to the Forest Service, basically.
Yes.
So I've got 386.
Yeah.
from County Road 387 to the forest boundary.
Correct.
386 is that county road that goes all the way through.
That's the main
Yes.
south harsh gravel, 387
Right.
is the North Creek.
Yeah. I was way off the rails there, so I'm glad you came in. Yeah, I was thinking the eastern portion of the upper half. So I don't remember us opening that top portion, but I'm not questioning you. I just didn't remember us doing
It
that
was done
We did that
a long time
for the
ago.
turkey hunters, didn't we?
Well, it's been at least 2 years
Okay,
for that piece.
okay.
And well, we can talk about it on.
So does that mean that gate's always unlocked at the top?
Right now, correct.
But I mean, since we opened that chunk, has it been unlocked ever since?
Yes.
Got it. And it would only be locked if we all agreed to close that back down.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I built down on the forest piece. I built a big turnaround
Oh,
and then it's blocked because below there, we ran a dozer through there
yeah,
and you
didn't last.
can't tell now.
See, I haven't been down there since the last time we all got
Doesn't
together.
look a whole
so-
lot different.
Wow. Okay, so we'll have that on for the 21st. I think that's probably a legal enough description, isn't it? I don't think we need anything more than that. I'm asking the author of the resolution, but
No, that's fine. Resolution to reopen County Road 386 portion of it.
You want me to
Portion of
send you that the old resolution?
I prepared it, so I'll have it in my file.
if you don't holler, because I've got what Jeff sent us as well, so. Very good, sir.
Send it to me, then it'll save me going through and looking for it.
Okay.
And the resolution reopening part of it, you got.
That one I don't have.
I'll dig it up.
And Lord knows where we're at for resolution numbers, probably one? No,
We're past.
No, I was thinking 2021.
We're up in the teens somewhere.
Yeah.
Were they
I
okay?
think, like, yeah, I think the last one we did was 11 or 12, but I can double check.
Yeah.
12 teens.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. I
No.
wanted to come by and get
glad you did.
how to do
because-
the process.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah, if you can live with the 21st. isn't
Oh,
it?
no, that's no, there's no, you work faster than my.
All right, sir, thank
Thank
you,
you.
appreciate it. Yeah, any other public comment? Anything for the good of the order, gentlemen?
As far as attorney items, I'll just do it tomorrow morning, whatever. I
Okay.
Want to report on it.
Thanks for being here.
I have a public comment.
You certainly may, we're still there, yes.
Mr. Ruthie had just left.
Oh, he left his,
Oh, sorry.
No,
No,
sorry.
saying-
previous amendment, Mr. Cannon, from you, please, sir. Sure.
What Jay is saying is that this is not open to the public technically.
and I've informed him of that he would have to.
You're waiting
Yeah.
outside.
Thank you,
And that's-
sir. And I appreciate his
just-
diligence.
He thought you were gonna come in and sit down.
No,
He didn't know what you were
That's what
doing.
I thought too.
And I did not, and I did not mean that.
You weren't being inflammatory, were you, sir?
And Mr. Miles, I was not trying to be disrespectful. I
No, that's
appreciate,
fine.
and I
No, that's
appreciate you
fine.
sitting
You
out there.
Mr. Prince,
Thank you.
I understand.
Thank you.
All right,
But,
you have the floor.
Mr. Ruthie, I talked to him outside in the hall. It was interesting to hear I guess that's the tourism board that we heard from earlier.
Yes.
And their plans and so forth for the, the hiking and all in the forest. And he is very concerned about the fact the forest is overloaded. And I would suggest maybe he should be talked to about that. Because I
A
think
lot of
there's,
people have bailed into the forest, haven't they?
pardon me?
A lot of people from all over the state are jumping.
It's
into the
overloaded.
forest.
And there's some talk that may be in some part responsible for the pollution in Lake Louise. So that's an issue that was, probably, I would suggest probably should be looked at with them strongly. But that, my intention, and it was interesting that Commissioner Flower expressed some concern about having whoever it was to look at the roof of the county building, make sure they had liability insurance. And of course, at the risk of being referred to as somebody from back east trying to tell us how to do it here, which in Florida, the law is very simple and straightforward. If you hire someone to fix your roof and they fall off the roof or get hurt, it's on them. That's their job. On the other hand, if there's a rotten spot in the roof that you know about that they don't, you've got a duty to tell them about the rotten spot in the roof. But that leads me then to this county of Butler.
Could you cite what document you're looking at? I have no idea what you're looking at.
Versus Wolf case, which is from the United States District Court, Western District of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Which I handed to Commissioner Kanda outside on the break, and I did not intend to hand this case out today, but one thing led to another, and I decided I would. I would have brought multiple copies if I was going to do that, which I can do.
Okay.
All right, it's public record, it's the law. And one of the things, this case essentially told the governor of the state of Pennsylvania, you're finished with these restrictions, with shutting down these businesses. We're done with them. You can't do this. There's now another case, Michigan Supreme Court that shut down Governor Gretchen Whitmire, I think it is Gretchen Whitmire is her name. She's been shut down and said you can't do it. What you were doing, you can't, so you can't do it. And the interesting thing, there was some talk about having these Board of Health meetings in secret, having the public excluded.
Well, that's.
And I didn't hear that. I was talking to Mr. Uthier when you discussed that. So I apologize for not hearing it. And we were discussing out there in the hall, the problems with the forest being overloaded is the reason I stepped out.
So let me interject here real quick.
Go ahead.
The discussion, so that you're clear, the discussion was whether to hold Board of Health or BOCC meetings virtually or live. In secret had nothing to do with it.
I thought there was talk of excluding the public.
Not allowing the public to be in this room.
Okay, I misunderstood.
Yeah, they have access.
I got it. I misunderstood.
For whatever
Just
platform.
like it is now.
I misunderstood.
Okay, that's just,
I
I just
see.
didn't want to interrupt you, but that was what we
I got
talked
it.
about. Virtual versus
Like I
live.
said, I was right outside talking to him and I may have missed that.
Okay,
So that's it. Thank you. Mr. Cannon, I hand that back. Thank you very much.
so let me respond real quick. I remember, I think it was Commissioner Candace comments during commissioner items about something that had to do with Butler. That's what you're referring to here. It's good information. What they do in Pennsylvania doesn't make a damn bit of difference what happens to me as a county commissioner in Colorado. If somebody files a lawsuit in the Supreme Court of Colorado forcing our governor to do something, believe me, I'll be all over that. To me, it's good information, but what they do in Pennsylvania, or did you say Iowa or Ohio? The other one? Michigan. Okay, but until it happens in Colorado, it's not applicable to us as county commissioners. No, you see what I'm saying, Miles or Matt, sorry.
I would respectfully disagree with you,
Okay.
Commissioner Flower, for this reason.
Okay,
That case prominently discussed the section 1983 federal civil rights violations that occurred in Pennsylvania because of what was done.
okay.
And I can assure you, and I think your county attorney will correct me
Is that
if
a
I'm
federal
wrong.
decision or a state decision?
That's what I was
It's a
getting.
federal court decision.
This was the Supreme Court of the US?
No, sir. That is a federal district court
District
decision.
Court, okay.
I can assure you that if that is found to be the law at the United States Supreme Court, it will apply to you.
Oh, I agree 100%. If it is
And-
found, it has not been, correct?
Not yet.
Okay, all right,
But
that's
if
all
you
I'm
read
getting.
that opinion carefully, I would suggest it's well-reasoned. And I would suggest it's more likely than not
Okay,
that will ultimately be found to be the law.
if it
In
is,
which
then,
case, this county is exposed to liability if it does something in contravention of any of these residents' constitutional rights.
no
That's the
question.
point I'm making.
Point very well taken.
So that's all.
Yeah, this doesn't mean it's happened.
It did happen in that
in,
district.
exactly, in that district.
It did
My
happen.
point is, when that happens in Colorado, I guarantee you,
Or at the Supreme Court.
we'd be very irresponsible not to adhere to some federal, not opinion, but a court case that was settled in court that applied to Colorado. I agree 100%.
A civil rights violation is a civil rights violation for the US Constitution. That's what that case is talking about.
Right.
And there are dozens of those cases pending right now.
There you go.
And I would suggest the court and the makeup we're going to see in DC will probably side with a lot of that in that opinion.
So your whole
That's my guess.
Miles, because I haven't talked to you about it at
Matt.
all. but
No, you have
Matt,
not.
I mean,
I keep calling
Mr.
him
Miles,
Miles.
I know Miles, there's many Miles around it. But my point is.
Commissioner Kanda, Commissioner Flower, Commissioner Prince is how I'd like to do it.
I'll try to get
Because that's what you
But
want.
the point you're making is it's a civil rights issue. It's a federal case and it can be a Supreme Court issue and that you're just making sure we're aware because we could be liable at some point if it became, gavel.
We mean me, Commissioner Kanda, the
Whether-
taxpayer.
Right. That's.
I'm on the one to have to pay a judgment if there is.
I was gonna be the county. Yeah, that's true.
We, the county, I'm a county taxpayer.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah, I get it. I agree with you 100%, sir. Thank you. Other public comment, other items for the good of the BLCC before we adjourn? Yes, sir.
I'm going to be a grandpa today a little later.
You know, I
I'd let
heard
you
about
know.
that. I heard about that.
young.
So it's scheduled, is it?
No, she went into labor at 3.
Oh,
this
wow.
morning. So hopefully by the end of this day, we'll have another grandpa.
We need a full.
First time, Grandpa?
This will be number 4, first
Okay.
time with my daughter.
Got you. All right, very good.
Just thought I'd let you know for the good of the order since
yeah.
you asked.
For the third time, you've let us know that. I just would like that.
I
to
would
be-
say it again if I had more information.
If it happened right now, you tell us.
You would know, promise.
Oh, gosh.
And don't think I won't mention it tomorrow either.
Oh, I don't doubt that. We'll have to. And let me just pose this so you'll have time to do research, sir. Why in the world do you think I'd be interested in that how long this newborn kid is?
I think because you are a human.
Yeah.
This is a life event.
Yeah.
And we hear so much negativity in this county.
I'm talking
in this
about the
country.
actual length of this newborn human. Why would I be interested
Oh, I'm
in
not
knowing
going to
how?
tell you. I'm not
Okay.
going to tell you.
All right, thank you.
But I will tell you. No, I won't tell you that. Never mind.
I can understand you telling me how much you weigh
I'm
because
not
I
gonna
could
tell you
relate
anything.
that
I
to
will
the.
tell you what my new granddaughter's name is once she's named.
Okay.
If she's named tomorrow, I don't know what today. I don't even know
To
that.
me, time of birth's important and the weight of birth's important.
I'm
I've
not gonna-
never extrapolated out any
I'm
importance
not
for
going
the
to give you
weight.
any specific details other than congratulations to my daughter and my spouse.
Yeah.
And me.
Congratulations.
All right,
I'll
Yes.
let you know.
perfect.
It was the good of the order.
Would encourage you to do that, sir.
I appreciate it.
There's a smile back here, whether you
I
see it or not.
appreciate it.
All right, anything else, gentlemen? I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Commissioner Flower, aye. Commissioner
Aye.
Prince,
Aye.
Commissioner Kanda,
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. 12:17.